Chapter 1676. So you're here to help? Tang Sen understood Silver Moon's meaning. Of course. Who else could it be? Silver Moon glanced at the city lazily. All right, where's the evil dragon inside? His boss died and he didn't react? Tang San pondered for a moment. The evil dragon Silver Moon spoke of was Long Xie, a soul beast lackey Brother Feng took in the Douluo world. Later, he brought it to the divine world. The seal on the divine wall of the Forbidden Realm was unstable due to the tremors of the divine world. It contained the evil thoughts of countless gods from an era in the divine world. Once those evil thoughts were released, the divine world would never be at peace. Brother Feng should have been in the dark demon world at that time. Later, Long Xie, who was cultivating in the divine world, entered the divine wall of the Forbidden Realm because he was originally a strand of evil thought expelled from the dragon god's body. To prevent the seal from being broken, he entered the divine wall of the Forbidden Realm to devour the evil thoughts and cultivate. Until now, nothing had happened. The seal on the divine wall of the Forbidden Realm had not loosened. Not for now. Tang San shook his head. That's a pity. Silver Moon thought for a moment. If that evil dragon can really absorb the evil thoughts sealed in the divine wall of the Forbidden Realm, its strength should be on par with yours, Tang San. It might even surpass you. Tang San smiled awkwardly. It wasn't impossible. After all, the evil thoughts of countless gods were sealed in the divine wall of the Forbidden Realm. If it could really absorb them, who knew what kind of strength it would reach? But who knew what kind of life form it would become? Could that Long Xie still be Long Xie? Tang San expressed his doubts. Then, God King Tang San, have you sensed Wang Feng's aura in the divine world? Silver Moon asked. She glanced at Tang San's expression and waved her hand. Forget it. Judging by your expression, I'm sure you haven't sensed anything. Tang San, as the God King of the divine world, he could sense any changes in the divine world. He thought for a moment. There's a place in the divine world that I can't sense. Where? The Sea of Samsara. Silver Moon thought for a moment. This was the most mysterious place in the God realm. It was normal that Tang San could not sense it. At this moment, the silver dragon suddenly looked into the distance. There, a pitch-black arc of light broke through the colorful clouds of the God realm. In an instant, Tang San felt a huge pressure in his mind that he could not resist. He looked into the distance in horror and squeezed out two words. He's here. Divine World, Reincarnation Sea. The golden reincarnation sea remained unchanged for 10,000 years. There were no waves on the sparkling surface of the sea, but it seemed to reflect the reincarnation of the world. In the middle, Shiyu's figure was like a graceful swan, moving on the surface of the sea like a fleeting shadow. Her toes, which were as white as jade, only left behind ripples that rippled in this world where only she existed. The scenery was stunning, and her mood was limitless, but no one appreciated it. As if she was tired from walking, she stopped. Her plain white dress drew a perfect curve on her body as she suddenly stopped. Emotiance is here. Are you still not done on your side? She frowned slightly and seemed a little worried. This Emotiance is still a devil consciousness clone. Not only did he come to the God realm, but he also went to the Douluo world. It seems like he's determined to find you. This guy can cultivate to a universe-level life form with an incomplete universe will. He even obtained the will of the universe galaxy by chance. Yin Qingjue, you really nurtured an incredible monster back then. Qiyu shook her head. The opening of the Dalu passage means that the sixth shackle of your eternal God palace should have been severed by Wang Feng, right? But even if Wang Feng can sever all the shackles, he might not be able to defeat the current Emotiance. It's all karma after all. Fate is unpredictable. She let out a long sigh and looked at the pitch-black shadow that suddenly appeared in the Sea of Samsara. She knew that Emotiance had come to the God realm. It wasn't fast, but it wasn't slow either. If he came quickly, the God realm would not have enough people, and he would not be able to catch everyone in one fell swoop. If he came slowly, there would be other variables, and it would be unnecessary trouble for him. Right now, the passage to the God realm was open. Mo Tians came at this time to confirm that Wang Feng had gone to the soul region of the Dark Devil world and severed the remaining shackles that he did not manage to sever back then. Back then, in order to guide Wang Feng to the Dark Devil world, Yin Qingjue sealed the passage between the Douluo world and the God Realm in those shackles after the God Realm War. An app was broadcasted, an app that could perfectly replicate the old version of the Book Chaser artifact. Yin Qingjue was probably afraid of being tricked by Mo Tians. She had no choice but to make this layer of insurance so that Wang Feng could successfully come to the Dark Devil world and sever those shackles. She curled her palm slightly and condensed a golden chess piece. She pointed at the spot where the black spot appeared in the sea of samsara. Boundless ripples appeared, but soon the chess piece was swallowed by the black spot. She shook her head. When the God Realm fell, Mo Tians would probably tear through the void domain and come here. When that time came, she would be inviting trouble for herself. She was a little anxious when she thought of this. They should still be trying to sever the remaining shackles right now, right? Back then, Mo Tians took more than half a year to sever the third shackle in the soul world. She realized that there wasn't enough time. After the remaining 6 shackles are severed, even if Wang Feng has that Universe Saint weapon, it is still incomplete. Furthermore, his soul is very weak. I don't know how long it will take, but Mo Tians had already made his move. With Mo Tians' scheming mind, he will capture Wang Feng's relatives and kill them in the Dark Devil world. Then, the souls of his relatives will appear in the soul domain of the Dark Devil world. When Wang Feng finds out, he won't be able to control himself. How would he have the ability to sever the remaining shackles? The more she thought about it, the more terrified she felt. Furthermore, if Mo Tians killed them slowly, he would kill them one by one. Then, Wang Feng wouldn't be able to stay in the soul world forever. He would definitely ask Yin Qingjue to let him out. They could easily force Wang Feng out of the soul world. She shuddered when she thought of this. The soul world was a very special place. That Universe God Palace was extraordinary. On the surface, it was suppressing the well of reincarnation. In fact, it was to prevent other universe-level life forms from having designs on the well of reincarnation. Mo Tians was also a universe-level life form. However, if he wanted to break free from the universe's reincarnation willpower, he could go to the soul world, but his cultivation would be greatly damaged. This wasn't something he could bear, as he had just become a universe-level life form. After thinking for a long time, she started to feel frustrated. At this moment, a voice suddenly sounded. "Do you have so little confidence in me?" This voice was frivolous and familiar. She didn't even need to think to know who it was. She turned around and saw a figure slowly rising from the sea of reincarnation. It was Wang Feng. "Why are you here?" she asked subconsciously. "No. Did Yin Qingjue ask you to come here?" The well of reincarnation and the reincarnation ocean belonged to the other side of the universe's reincarnation. The only person who could come here was Yin Qingjue. Chapter 1677. What else? Wang Feng looked at Shiyu. It had been a long time since they last met, but this Genesis divinity source of the God world was still as beautiful as ever. It was so beautiful that it shook one's soul and was unparalleled in this world. "But Shiyu looked at Wang Feng blankly. "He came here? Shouldn't he still be in the dark demon world, helping Yin Qingjue break the shackles of the Eternal God Palace?" Unexpected, Wang Feng looked at her with amusement. "Forget it. It's boring. Let's just lay our cards on the table. Yin Qingjue has basically told me everything." Shiyu's role in this situation was actually very interesting. She was different from Yin Qingjue. She wasn't a system, but she was Yin Qingjue's observer. She observed Wang Feng's movements in the Douluo world. At the same time, she was indebted to the Origin Calamity God King. She had more special feelings for Wang Feng, the person chosen by the Origin Calamity God King's soul. She was very clear about many of Wang Feng's experiences in the Douluo world. Hence, when she came to the Douluo world as the Shi Douluo, she came into contact with Wang Feng personally. Although she wasn't a system and didn't help Wang Feng that much, Wang Feng knew that in many key areas, she was slightly more important than Yin Qingjue. Even if it was because of her relationship with the origin Calamity God King, she was different from Yin Qingjue. She looked at Wang Feng's soul form in shock. What are you doing here? With your current soul form, you can't beat emotiance at all. Since shouldn't you still be in the soul world? What did Yin Qingjue mean by sending you here? Wait, could it be that you... Yes, I have broken all 6 shackles. Wang Feng said simply. She opened her mouth slightly, obviously in disbelief. Logically speaking, this was obviously impossible. Let's talk about the rest later. Wang Feng pondered for a moment. Now, let me ask you a question. What is it? Ask. Which world did Qianrenxue go to? She was stunned for a moment. You're just asking this? What else? I know about the relationship between you and Yin Qingjue. Wang Feng glanced at Shiyu. You don't have many secrets in front of me. If I don't ask this, then what should I ask? Shiyu suddenly felt a little dazed. Although Wang Feng was only in his soul form, his aura was much more majestic than the last time they met in his physical form. It was just a soul, but as it spoke, it imperceptibly emitted a powerful aura. It was just like the origin tribulation God King of the past. Perhaps their strength was much weaker, but their demeanor and aura were somewhat similar. Just as she was about to speak, Wang Feng suddenly spoke up. You don't have to say anything. Let me ask you, did she reincarnate from the sea of reincarnation to the Angel Nebula in another universe? How did you know? She looked at Wang Feng in surprise. After receiving Shiyu's affirmation, Wang Feng was completely sure that the Heaven Cultivation King, Angel Maple, was Qianrenxue. He heaved a huge sigh of relief. Huh. Wang Feng stepped forward and looked at Shiyu with a faint smile. Why don't you guess? Shiyu subconsciously took 2 steps back, frowned slightly, and said impatiently, Wang Feng, since you already know, I won't hide it from you. What do you want to do here? You've severed those 6 shackles, and Yin Qingjue has already taken control of the well of reincarnation. You should immediately go to the God Realm, or Douluo world, and leave with your family, friends, and confidants. You still have a heavy responsibility, so you should leave. Wang Fengxin was slightly shaken. Although Shiyu spoke impatiently, he knew that this was actually a form of protection. The so-called heavy responsibility must be the origin tribulation God King's heavy responsibility to rebuild the chaos world. But in reality, if he really did that, emotiance would definitely not let the God Realm off easily. Since I'm here, how can I leave? Wang Feng shook his head, thought for a moment, and said, Yin Qingjue said that you have a way to reconstruct the body. What is it? Suddenly, it was unexpected. Shiyu's expression changed, and her flawless face blushed a little. Why did Yin Qingjue tell you this? Shiyu said calmly, don't you have an even stronger main body in Douluo world? There's no need to reconstruct the body. After you control the main body, you can reconstruct as many bodies as you want. Why do you need to find me here? Shiyu's change naturally did not escape Wang Feng's eyes. His heart was moved. Tell me first, do you have it here? Yes. Shiyu nodded in the end. What's the method? Wang Feng asked. You don't have to care about this. Shiyu looked as though she refused to answer. All right then. Wang Feng thought for a moment and told Shiyu about his experience in the soul world. So you came here. Shiyu gritted her teeth and said, you want to use this split soul of yours to cultivate the yin-yang fusion origin with me and absorb the essence of time in the God Realm's river of time to cultivate the second origin wheel soul and then deal with emotiance? That's right. Wang Feng was a little embarrassed. In fact, although this idea was suggested by Yin Qingjue, he had thought of it long ago. But he was a man, and it was not good to say what was in his mind. After thinking for a moment, Wang Feng said, cultivating the yin-yang fusion origin doesn't require a soul. When Yin Qingjue and I cultivated, we cultivated from a distance. At most, we could see each other's experiences. Speaking of this, Wang Feng was a little proud. Moreover, I have experience this time. Our souls don't need to touch each other, and I can open my mind without any method. Shiyu, are you proud of having experience? What a scumbag. Yin Qingjue, are you trying to drag me down with you? Shi said angrily to the void. You're really my good sister. Your sisters? Wang Feng was shocked. Yin Qingjue didn't have this in her experience. She didn't mention this either. She only said that she and Shi were in a cooperative relationship. Then, interesting, Wang Feng coughed a few times. Logically speaking, he didn't have much affection for Yin Qingjue and Shiyu. If he had to say, he had some admiration for Shiyu. After all, her appearance was indeed extraordinary. In Wang Feng's memory, no one could beat Shiyu's appearance. She was also very big. Of course, Wang Feng felt that he had enough female confidence now. Most importantly, he had feelings for them. After all, being big was just a hobby. Feelings were the foundation. Well, if you refuse, then forget it, Wang Feng said after thinking for a moment. His main soul could still find Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong to cultivate the yin-yang fusion origin. But the worlds they controlled were all small planes and definitely couldn't be compared to the divine realm. When they cultivated the initial wheel, the soul would be much weaker than the main soul. But cultivating the yin-yang fusion origin with them would allow him to have true spiritual intercourse. Compared to Yin Qingjue and Shiyu, it was much better. But the chances of winning against emotiants would be lower, and the danger would be greater. She stared at Wang Feng for a long time before saying coldly, I want to refuse. What do you mean by that? Chapter 1678. Reject. She couldn't help but laugh. To be honest, her smile was very beautiful, but Wang Feng didn't feel good about it. What are you laughing at? Wang Feng asked. Of course, I can reject, but the price is the fall of the divine world. She snorted. Yin Qingjue knew this, which is why she sent you here first. I don't think so. Even if you reject, I can also... Wang Feng thought about it. You're cultivating the yin-yang symbiotic origin with your other two soulmates? Yes, you can, but the initial wheel soul that you cultivate is far weaker than your main soul. This isn't the most important thing. The most important thing is that they can't help your initial wheel soul reconstruct a body that is compatible with it. She said indifferently. Without a body as a medium, it will be hard for you to use your strength in the divine world. You will most likely lose against emotiants. The divine world will definitely fall. When the divine world falls, I won't disappear, but I will return to silence and fall into the endless darkness. I will wait for the next moment when the primordial chaos opens. This, Wang Feng thought for a few seconds. He realized that she was right. However, then Wang Feng looked at her. He was actually more curious about how to reconstruct a body, or a body that was compatible with the initial wheel soul. She didn't say anything, as though she was holding it in. After a long time, when the black spot in the center of the reincarnation sea was getting bigger and bigger, she couldn't help but say, I agree, but you have to agree to a few conditions. Wang Feng frowned and said, cultivating the yin-yang intersection origin is a mutually beneficial thing. Why should I agree to a few conditions? If you cultivate the yin-yang intersection origin, it will also strengthen your soul spirit energy. It will be helpful to you too, right? Cultivating this origin isn't just a one-sided demand. Moreover, this is just a transaction. There are no emotions involved. Moreover, Yin Qingjue is able to transfer the yin soul origin that she cultivated. If you feel that the yin soul origin that you cultivated is an obstacle to you, you can also transfer it directly. As he spoke, Wang Feng noticed that Shiyu's expression was a little bad. He stopped. It seems that Yin Qingjue has not explained it clearly to you. Shi said faintly, You are right. If it is just cultivating the yin-yang symbiotic origin to help you cultivate the origin wheel, then the origin wheel will be the soul. This is nothing. The most important thing is to help you reforge a body that is compatible with you. She took 2 steps forward, her figure light and graceful, but she still left circles of ripples on the surface of the sea. She gently raised her hand and scooped up a strand of seawater. The golden seawater flowed along her jade-like fingers and gradually dripped onto the surface of the sea, splashing up little waves. Back then, The reincarnation sea also had a well palace like the one outside the reincarnation well. It had 9 shackles in total. Origin Tribulation Deity King helped me sever these 9 shackles in the God world, and I obtained the cosmic purple chi that contained the will of the universe. Did you know that the me from back then was different from how I am now? She closed her eyes. At that time, the Genesis Mana was only a body of consciousness. At most, he could only transform into a human form. But now, she watched as the seawater dripped from his hand. It's a real body? That's right. She turned around and looked at Wang Feng. It's true that we are the heavenly Tao, but special existences like the heavenly Tao cannot have a physical body. Although Yin Qingjue has the title of Yama Lord in the dark demon world, she does not have a real body. Hearing this, Wang Feng was slightly stunned. There was such a thing? The heavenly Tao does not exist in the scale of the universe and does not belong to any life. Naturally, it is impossible for us to have a physical body. Once we have a physical body and become a real life, we will definitely be involved in the reincarnation of the universe. What kind of heavenly Tao is that? Vaguely, Wang Feng seemed to understand something. So these palaces are a gift and also a test for us. The shackles on the palaces contain the cosmic purple chi. This cosmic purple chi contains a special will of the universe. Once gathered, it will form a complete will of the universe. This will of the universe is called the reincarnation heavenly embryo, also known as the heavenly embryo will. Comprehending, cultivating, and fusing with the power of the world's origin can directly nurture the body of a universe-level life. This allows the heavenly Tao to become a real life form and directly become a universe-level life form. Wang Feng's pupils contracted. Moreover, once the heavenly embryo will forms a physical body, our souls will never disappear. They will only be divided into countless tiny cosmic particles and scattered in the universe. Eventually, our souls will be reborn and our bodies will be reconstructed. This is the greatest opportunity for the heavenly Tao. Wang Feng understood. He suddenly remembered that when he was in the soul world and collecting the demonic soul of demon god Huang Hai, he had met a wisp of his soul on the island of Kanglan Star. At that time, demon god Huang Hai's wisp of soul had disintegrated his own demonic soul and fused an origin called Guiyuan into the disintegrated demonic soul. This allowed all the human souls on the island to cultivate a kind of soul crystal core. At that time, Wang Feng had thought that the Guiyuan origin was indeed powerful. It was very close to the survival method of a universe-level life form. It should have been comprehended by demon god Huang Hai from the demonic chi. It turned out that whether it was the reincarnation sea or the reincarnation well, the will of the universe in the 9 shackles of the palaces was the heavenly embryo will. A powerful will that could condense the body of a universe-level life form. You have a body now. Have you succeeded in cultivating it? Wang Feng asked. Not yet, but soon. If I were to help you condense a body, I would have to use the heavenly embryo will that I have cultivated for many years. She looked at her reflection in the water. Also, I would have to share at least half of it with you. Although you helped Yin Qingjue to sever the remaining 6 shackles, her heavenly embryo will was incomplete. 2 streaks of purple gas were taken by emotiance. She was already having trouble cultivating the heavenly embryo will. Naturally, she would not be able to help you condense a body that is compatible with the soul of your initial wheel. So she handed this problem to me. She even wanted to drag me down with the yin-yang intersection origin. She gritted her teeth. She knows that I possess the complete will of the heavenly embryo. Now that we're facing such a crisis in the God realm, and you're the reincarnation of the origin tribulation God King's soul, I owe him a debt of gratitude. I cannot return it. How could I refuse? This Yin Qingjue was really calculative. Wang Fengxin thought to himself, you don't have to make it sound so bad. Drag me down. Wang Feng forced himself to say, I don't think I am that bad. She rolled her eyes. I am more familiar with you than Yin Qingjue. I saw everything that happened to you in the Douluo world. Everything that Yin Qingjue saw was told to you by me. You aren't bad, but... She looked at Wang Feng as though she was looking at a scumbag. What conditions do you have? Tell me. Wang Feng said, without changing his expression. She was silent for a long time. She thought for a while and finally shook her head. Forget it. Wang Feng didn't understand. What was wrong with this woman? She just said that she had conditions, but now she didn't? Because of that, he still felt bad about it. Wang Feng was shocked. He looked at Shiyu. Damn, she is really good. Let's begin, Shiyu said indifferently. Okay. Wang Feng didn't refuse. He knew that emotiance had already arrived in the divine world. There was no time for him to hesitate. She waved her hand. In an instant, the river of time that Wang Feng saw on the Star Soul Road appeared in the sky again. It was like a painting without a beginning or end floating by. Chapter 1679. Wang Feng was already very experienced in cultivating the yin-yang symbiotic origin. He knew that this endless scroll was the God World's river of time. You have already shown me part of the God World's river of time on the Star Soul Road. You should be familiar with it, right? She said. Wang Feng nodded. Not only was he familiar with it, but he was also familiar with it. Then let's begin. First, cultivate the soul of the origin wheel, then cultivate the yin-yang fusion origin with me. A sly look flashed across Shiyu's eyes. All right, my soul is in this God World's river of time. With that, she disappeared. Question mark. Several question marks appeared in Wang Feng's mind. What she means is that you need to find her soul in the river of time for her to cultivate the yin-yang fusion origin with you. At this moment, a voice rang out from his soul. It was Yin Qingjue's voice. Is this considered a problem from her? Wang Feng asked. Sort of. She is different from me. You are my target, but not her. Strictly speaking, she has no obligation to give up too much for you. Yin Qingjue replied. Wang Feng thought about it and felt that it made sense. Shiyu had the complete will of the heavenly embryo and was only one step away from becoming a universe-level life form. Now that she had to split half of this will to create a physical body for him, she would have to pay a huge price. Hurry up. Emotiance has already made his move in the God world and the Douluo world. Yin Qingjue's voice rang out again. Wang Feng nodded slightly and turned into a beam of light, entering the endless river of time. Douluo God world, Imperial City. The majestic, demonic figure descended, causing the colorful sky of the God world to turn dark and gloomy. It was as if the sun had disappeared. Only the Imperial City had some light. Even Yama's palm wasn't this powerful. This emotiance. Tang Xin stood at the highest point of the Imperial City, on the steeple of the Temple of Faith. He looked at the demonic figure in the distance with worry in his heart. Below the Temple of Faith, all the gods gathered. Every one of them stood on a circular platform, floating in the air, divine power boiling in their hands. The enemy was before them. This time, God King Tang San was naturally much more experienced than last time. Most importantly, the God Realm had obtained plenty of magical machine technology from the Dark Demon world and the civilizations of other worlds. What he was using now was a large-scale divine power conversion formation that could convert and blend divine power without any loss. It could transfer the divine power of even the lowest-ranked heavenly official of the God Realm to Tang San without any loss. Even though the Dark Devil Realm was a great enemy of our divine realm back then, I have to admit that their development over there is very good. As Tang San sensed the surging divine power flowing into his body, light burst out from his body, and 9 colorful divine halos rose from his body. If I had such a technique when the Imperial Demon Army attacked, I would have been able to easily take on the Lord of Hell's palm. Tang San shook his head. Saying this after the fact was naturally somewhat laughable. However, this also proved that the current divine realm was much stronger than before. In terms of other things, just this God King alone was already stronger than before. That's right. You're the only one left in the Divine Realm Committee. It's not easy to reach this level. On the other side, Silver Moon smiled as she spoke from the back of the massive silver dragon in the sky. To be able to compare with Milady. I'm ashamed, Tang San said. The silver dragon possessed the dragon god's origin and even had the dragon god's blood essence. Moreover, it should have had a close relationship with Feng. It was normal for it to have its current power. All right, I'm going to merge with Milady as well. Otherwise, I won't be able to unleash my full power, Silver Moon said with a serious expression. Silver Moon suddenly said with a serious expression, even so, we might not be able to withstand more than a few moves from Emotiance. Let's try to stall for time. Having said that, she turned into a flash of silver light and merged with the silver dragon beneath her feet. Roar! The silver dragon let out a soft roar. Like light and mist, its majestic divine power shot straight into the clouds. Tang Sen wasn't too sure about the actual relationship between Silver Moon and the silver dragon. He only knew that the difference between the two was the ego and the ego. It was also possible that Silver Moon was the consciousness of the silver dragon. Silver Moon wasn't very strong, but after fusing with the silver dragon, there was a special fusion. He could see that the center of the silver dragon's eyes had a tinge of red. Although the silver dragon was powerful, it looked calm, indifferent, and didn't seem to be aggressive. However, the current silver dragon seemed to be full of aggressiveness and was emitting a stronger sense of power. Tang Sen looked down, and the demon Azurasaur that was floating in midair suddenly shot out a beam of light. The beam of light turned into Xiao Wu and stood beside Tang San. Third brother, this Emotiance is very cunning. Xiao Wu said softly, my daughter sent news that the Douluo world sky has been torn open. It seems like Emotiance has appeared too. Emotiance consciousness clone is planning to appear in both the Douluo world and the God realm at the same time. He's planning to wipe us all out in one go. But this way, he won't be able to unleash his full strength. Tang Sen thought for a while. Perhaps this is also a chance for us to stall him for a while. Furthermore, in order to lure Brother Feng out, he probably won't start a massacre in the God realm and Douluo world. Xiao Wu nodded slightly. I've sent a group of gods to the Douluo world. Currently, the only ones who are close to Brother Feng in the Douluo world are that group of soul beasts and a few special children. You're asking Rongrong, Zhuqing, Mubai, Oscar, and the rest to go down, right? Tang Sen asked. Yes, that's good too. Tang Sen lowered his head slightly. It's good for them to go. After all, they're the most familiar with the Douluo world. Suddenly, a crescent shadow appeared in the sky above the divine world. That was the Milky Way. It was the image of the Milky Way. Even though it was just an image, a powerful will pressure came down from above in an instant. Tang Sen felt his divine soul tremble, and his body couldn't move at all. At the same time, an indifferent voice sounded. You want to stop me with just you guys? It's ridiculous. In the long river of time, Wang Feng's soul was swimming in it. From the beginning, his soul swam to the beginning of the God realm. This was interesting. Wang Feng saw the birth of the God realm. The God realm was created by a universe-level life form, which was the god of creation of the God realm. It wasn't purely born slowly in the universe, creating a world, not to mention universe-level life forms. Even demon gods and godly kings could do it. However, the most time-consuming thing to create a world was time. The formation of a world required a long time to evolve, and eventually form all kinds of life forms, and finally form a civilization. Of course, as the strongest in the universe, he could speed up. As long as he threw some civilization seeds in this world, he could accelerate the speed of evolution. And this god of creation of the God realm was very lazy. After he created the God realm, he didn't care much. The 5 origin seeds that established the basic rules of the God realm were the embryonic forms of the 5 godly kings. From the long river of time in the God realm, Wang Feng saw the beginning of the God realm's creation, until the 5 origin seeds became the first batch of life forms, until the various changes now. In this long river, Wang Feng swam to his heart's content, and every scene could be seen clearly. For example, the scene of the Dragon God War, including the dragon gods split into 2 great origins, the Golden Dragon King and the Silver Dragon. The history of the God realm was long, and it wasn't any worse than the Dark Demon realm. The difference was that Shi Yu and Yin Xingjue were the 2 heavenly Dao. Because the god realm was created by the strongest, it was born with the 5 great origins as the world's rules. The dark demon realm was born on its own, and it was naturally much weaker. It relied on the help of Yin Qingjue's heavenly Tao to cultivate emotiance, and finally integrated the dark demon realm, making it comparable to the god realm. One was like a grassroots, slowly rising up. The other was born as an elite, calling for a golden spoon. Most importantly, Shiyu, the heavenly Tao, was more of a Buddhist. Even in a place like the void domain, she didn't think of conquering and plundering other worlds. Most of the time, she relied on gentle methods to obtain the power of faith. And she didn't expand. This was very different from Yin Qingjue, the dark demon realm's heavenly Tao. Wang Feng, who was absorbing the essence of the long river of time, found it very interesting. How did these 2 heavenly Tao incarnations with different personalities and ideologies work together? Before the 2 god wars, they obviously didn't work together. According to Yin Qingjue, after the 2 god wars, she were both heavenly Tao, and they appreciated each other, so they worked together. It was also said that Shiyu herself wanted to make the god realm stronger. Chapter 1680. Wang Feng felt that the connection between the heavenly Tao could not be explained clearly, but it was all for the sake of breaking through to become a universe-level life form, surviving the Genesis wheel and becoming stronger. Thinking of this, Wang Feng sighed softly. As he slowly absorbed the essence of the long river of time in the god world, his soul began to become illusory. Countless time symbols appeared on his body, like a clock of the great Tao, mysterious and unfathomable. It was as if countless years had passed with a glance. The Genesis wheel's soul was formed. Next, it was time to cultivate the yin-yang origin with Shiyu's soul. That's right, where's Shiyu's soul? Wang Feng suddenly woke up. Her soul was in the long river of time. But when he swam through every corner of the long river of time, he did not seem to notice it. Almost missed it. Wang Feng immediately stopped in the long river of time and quickly sensed. However, no matter how he sensed, he could not sense Shiyu's soul. She is the heavenly Tao of the god world, hiding her soul in the long river of time. Even I can't sense it clearly, Wang Feng thought. But if that was the case, then he was underestimating his Genesis wheel's soul too much. The Genesis wheel's soul had all kinds of mysteries. Once cultivated, it could change the direction of the long river of time, even in the god world. She hid her soul in the long river of time, which would definitely cause subtle changes in the long river of time. Even if it was the slightest change, Wang Feng could find it. Holding his breath, the Genesis wheel soul turned into a long needle, spinning rapidly in the long river of time, looking for subtle changes in the long river of time. Suddenly, Wang Feng felt that something interesting was happening. Around the time when the origin tribulation deity, King, disappeared and transformed into 2 deities, he sensed a subtle change, and the change was on one of the gods. Wang Feng knew that origin tribulation deity King's origin had turned into 2 different gods in the god world. The first was Di, who was the first 6-winged dark angel in the god world. After falling into the god world, he was also called the 12-winged dark angel. The second was the first 6-winged angel god. But interestingly, according to Wang Feng's knowledge, the history of the Douluo world was that the angel god was a powerhouse in the Douluo world. He became an angel god and ascended to the god world. In other words, the first angel god did not come from the god world. He came from the Douluo world. Just like the sea god, he became a god and ascended to the god world. Wouldn't that be a contradiction? Wang Feng had always had doubts about this. However, because most of his attention was on demon god Dai, he did not think too deeply. At this moment, Wang Feng arrived at this timeline. The initial wheel time soul turned into a ray of light and entered the time axis. In the blink of an eye, the light in the surroundings was annihilated and reformed, finally converging here. Wang Feng's soul arrived at the reincarnation sea of the god world where the origin tribulation god king had died. Light and shadow intertwined. Light and darkness soared into the sky like yin and yang, forming a huge pillar of qi above the reincarnation sea. Wang Feng finally saw Shiyu's soul. No, to be precise, it was the souls of two Shiyus. One was inside the pillar of light. The other was outside the pillar of light. Wang Feng vaguely understood something. The soul in the pillar was well hidden. Wang Feng did not notice it when he was looking at the river of time. Now that he had come to this timeline and observed it from a close distance, he discovered it. Wang Feng walked over. You can really find it. Your primordial soul is indeed very powerful. She suddenly turned around and looked at Wang Feng. Not bad. Wang Feng was silent for a moment. Is that your soul inside? What do you think? She looked at Wang Feng with a smile that was not a smile. Could it be? Wang Feng frowned slightly. You are the same as Yin Qingjue, a manifestation of the heavenly Tao. Your soul entered the angel god that the origin tribulation God King transformed into. You are also an angel god of the God world. Thinking of this, Wang Feng was suddenly startled. Back in the Douluo world, he went to the angel illusion to help Qianren Xue. At that time, the angel god conveyed a lot of information to him and also had a short exchange. He also allowed him to get close to the 7 different tests of the angel god in the angel illusion, thus obtaining the 7 special powers of the angel god. After that, he could fuse with the 7 powers of the dark angel martial soul and become the origin tribulation God King's power. At that time, Wang Feng was quite puzzled. The power of the dark angel was clearly in conflict with the angel gods. Why did the angel god not only not kill him, but also help him? Even if he really liked him, he had already inherited the Qianren Xue and couldn't change. Why did he help him so much? When he obtained the power of the 7 angel statues in the angel illusion, the angel god told him that he had to fuse these 14 powers and then condense the angel source core to become a supreme god. Now that he thought about it, the supreme god was probably all the power of the origin tribulation God King. How could an angel god know so much? Later, when Wang Feng talked with the 5 great God Kings, the 4 great God Kings only said that he had to fuse 14 powers and combine them with a new 6-winged angel god to become the origin tribulation God King. The 5 great God Kings didn't mention anything about the angel source core. Now that he thought about it, the 2 sides were obviously different. Of course, at that time, he didn't know so much and didn't know that the angel god was related to the origin tribulation God King, so he didn't think too much about it. Now that he saw Shiyu's soul in this pillar of light, he understood. The human with the power of an angel in the Douluo world is you. Wang Feng said in a deep voice, you were in the Douluo world to fuse with the origin tribulation God King's power. It seems that you understand. Shiyu nodded slightly. Yes. The last trace of the origin tribulation God King's life force turned into the original appearance of the 2 gods. At the same time, the origin tribulation God King divided his power into 14 parts and injected them into the 2 life forces. In order to let this life force quickly adapt to the origin tribulation God King's life force, I had just obtained the will of the heavenly embryo and used it together. My soul entered this life force to help fuse. The best way to fuse with it is to use experience. After the Second War of the Gods, the divine realm was empty, so I descended into the Douluo world and controlled this body to gain experience. Finally, I used the method of self-proving and fused this life force with the 7 origins to ascend to the divine realm. I quietly waited for the origin tribulation God King's his soul to reincarnate into the chosen one. Hearing this, Wang Fengxin's heart thumped. Then the angel clan in the Douluo world. It was left behind before I entered the divine realm. She looked at Wang Feng with a faint smile. Wait! Wang Feng was stunned. Then didn't you have a man in the Douluo world a long time ago? Heh! Shiyu's smile remained unchanged. That's right, otherwise how could I leave behind my inheritance? It can't be made out of thin air, right? So, you still plan to cultivate the yin-yang fusion origin with me? Oh. And in other words, according to seniority, the Qianren Xue has to call me ancestor. After saying that, she looked at Wang Feng with a strange expression. Wang Feng. Wang Fengxian's heart thumped. Damn, these heavenly Daos are not so simple. But in a hurry, Wang Feng seemed to have thought of something. Why not? Wang Feng glanced at Shiyu. Not to mention that as the heavenly Dao, you have countless ways to leave behind your inheritance without having to marry a man in the mortal world. Even if you do, what does it have to do with me? We who cultivate the yin-yang origin can only be regarded as Dao seekers at most, and we don't need to have intercourse. At that time, you can even pass the yin soul origin that you cultivate to her. And I didn't have many feelings before. You used this method to test me. To be honest, it didn't require much skill. Wang Feng looked at Shiyu with a smile. How did you know I was testing you? Shiyu said indifferently. The heavenly Dao is ruthless, high and mighty. You are still the heavenly Dao of the God realm, and at that time, you even controlled the will of the heavenly embryo. Can you take a fancy to a man in the mortal world? Wang Feng said without hesitation. I guess you left behind the angel inheritance in the Douluo world. Because, if the person chosen by the reincarnation of the Origin Tribulation Divine King wants to obtain the power of the Origin Tribulation Divine King, they have to marry the angel god that you have fused with. And you naturally have to break away from the identity of the angel god. Because you don't know whether the person chosen by the Origin Tribulation Divine King is male or female. But whether it is male or female, as the heavenly Dao of the God realm, you will not marry them. So, you left behind the inheritance of the angel bloodline. You can let the descendant who has the power of the angel bloodline inherit your identity as the angel god after countless years. This soul of yours will be able to break free. After saying that, Wang Feng looked at her. In order to break away from the identity of the angel god, she was not even willing to be the reincarnation of the Origin Tribulation Divine King. Naturally, it was impossible for her to marry a man in the mortal world. The current you is not ordinary smart. She shook her head and said slowly, You are right, but there is one thing you don't know. The angel I turned into in the Douluo world is in the image of a man, not a woman. Wang Feng was stunned, and only then did he remember that the angel god in the Elder Hall of the Martial Spirit Palace was indeed a man. She tilted her head slightly and looked at Wang Feng. Our heavenly Dao did not differentiate between men and women in the beginning. Later, I found that women were better. After returning to the God realm, I condensed this body with the will of the heavenly embryo. Wang Feng. Chapter 1681. To be honest, Wang Feng was very shocked by the secrets Shiyu revealed. Because Wang Feng could sense some of them, but he didn't connect them to Shiyu at all. Why are you telling me these secrets? Wang Feng hesitated for a moment before asking. Is it just to test me? In fact, these secrets were considered private matters for Shiyu, and they were hidden very well. Even if he had traveled through the river of time, it would be difficult for him to know so clearly. She didn't need to tell him these things just to test him. I have watched you grow up. She said indifferently, I know you very well, but you don't know me well enough. Since we're going to cultivate the origin of the soul, it is better for both sides to understand each other more thoroughly. Wang Feng nodded. He could understand Shiyu's reason. However, the relationship between Shiyu and Qianren Xue was something Wang Feng didn't expect. Ancestor, let's begin. Shiyu closed her eyes. Don't delay. When you cultivate the origin of yin and yang, I will pass on the will of the heavenly embryo to you and help you condense a physical body. Wang Feng nodded. This time, the process of cultivating the origin of yin and yang was very smooth. It was much smoother than yin xingjue. Just as Shiyu said, both sides understood this very well, and there were no more secrets. In addition, Wang Feng had the experience of cultivating with yin xingjue, so he drove Shiyu's soul to cultivate. The two were as calm as still water, and there was no contact between their souls. The power of the soul could produce the origin of yin and yang, and then cultivate the yin and yang souls. And the speed of cultivation was very fast, so fast that Wang Feng was surprised. Speaking of which, I have always been very curious. In the middle of cultivation, Shiyu's soul suddenly opened her eyes and looked at Wang Feng. Curious about what? The sudden question inexplicably gave Wang Feng a premonition that he didn't want to hear. Sure enough, he heard Shiyu ask, "You have countless women in the Douluo world. I am very curious. Which one do you like the most?" Shiyu asked. Wang Feng. See, this is the kind of question. With Wang Feng's experience as a scumbag, he knew that he must not answer casually at this time. Otherwise, all his previous efforts would have been wasted. This Shiyu didn't ask before or after, but she just had to ask now. If she didn't have any ulterior motives, Wang Feng wouldn't believe it, even if he was beaten to death. After pondering for a moment, Wang Feng said, "That depends on whether you're asking about the Wang Feng of the past or the current Wang Feng." Shiyu was slightly taken aback. What's the difference? Back then, Wang Feng was an inexperienced man. Nature loves him more, said Wang Feng. Oh, what about now? Shiyu sneered. Perhaps this answer was somewhat familiar to her. The current Wang Feng. Wang Feng pondered for a moment. After experiencing the world, it's only natural that he likes whoever is prettier. What a shameless statement, Shiyu said disdainfully. You become even worse after experiencing so much. That's not true. Wang Feng shook his head and said, "The strong are poor." However, her beauty was boundless. And in my heart, they are all becoming more beautiful. That's rather interesting. Shiyu thought for a moment. Although your answer is rather perfunctory. Shiyu suddenly looked at Wang Feng and smiled. I didn't realize that you had such deep feelings for me. Wang Feng didn't seem to understand. What do you mean? Wang Feng, do you take me for a fool? Shiyu said indifferently. This body of mine was formed by the will of the heavenly embryo. To put it bluntly, in terms of beauty, I'm more beautiful than anyone in your heart. You're only saying this for me to hear. You men's mouths can't be trusted at all. Wang Feng didn't say anything. Then you're asking me this question because you want to get an answer about yourself, right? Wang Feng couldn't help but laugh. Otherwise, why didn't you ask earlier or later? Why did you have to ask at a crucial moment in cultivation? If I didn't say something nice for you to hear, your soul would be shaken and you wouldn't be able to cultivate anymore. You women also don't mean what you say. You say that men aren't good, but aren't you enjoying it in your heart? She was speechless. She seemed a little angry and embarrassed. I know I can't win against you. Wang Feng had a reason for saying that, because he found that after he said that, their souls were more compatible. See, that answer was obviously secretly poking at Shiyu's heart. So what if it was the heavenly Tao? As long as it was alive and had a physical body, it would definitely have feelings, even if it was very faint. But as long as it was a little bit, it would be enough. Wang Feng sighed. He was getting more and more familiar with it. This wasn't too good. As he cultivated his origin, his soul slowly became stronger during the initial wheel, but Wang Fengxin's thoughts gradually drifted away. After an unknown period of time, start forming your physical body. Shiyu muttered, I'll give you a portion of the will of the heavenly embryo to assist you in forming your physical body. Assist? Wang Feng thought for a moment. Why don't I do it myself? You do it yourself? The will of the heavenly embryo is a kind of will of the universe. Although it's not very strong, you won't be able to comprehend it completely in a short time. I know you have a special primordial origin, but with your current soul power, you can't use it to analyze the will of the universe. Without my guidance, it'll be very difficult for you to use the power of the will of the heavenly embryo. She glanced at Wang Feng. Then can I make a request? Wang Feng asked, for your physical body? What request? Wang Feng transmitted a few words to Shiyu. Shiyu was startled at first, then her tone became a little uncertain. You're already at this level, but you're still thinking about those things. I'm just speaking according to my original body. Do you have to be so agitated? What do you mean I'm thinking about those things? What things am I thinking about? Wang Feng was speechless. Do you think I don't know what you're thinking? Shiyu snorted coldly. She didn't reject Wang Feng's request. The will of the heavenly embryo was very interesting. It was a kind of method similar to building one's body in the primordial chaos, waiting for the primordial chaos to break open and form a physical body. Inside the will of the heavenly embryo, countless amounts of energy would enter through the primordial chaos, be gradually formed by the physical body, and finally be born. With this kind of will, forming a physical body was as simple as eating and drinking. Of course, a physical body formed in this way would be equally powerful, but it wouldn't have any powerful special abilities. But no matter what, it could be considered as having a medium to use the origin power in the real world. And it was also the prerequisite to being able to form the true soul of Pango Axe. After an unknown period of time, along with a slight sound of something breaking open, there was a boundless sound. Above the sea of reincarnation, the surging seawater boiled. On the surface of the sea, the endless river of time bloomed with billions of rays of light. Not long after, two figures flew out from it, a man and a woman. The woman's appearance was peerless, and the man was extremely handsome, not inferior to the woman at all. However, he didn't wear any clothes, so he landed on the surface of the sea in a somewhat sorry state. As soon as he landed on the surface of the sea, the man waved his hand, and the river of time suddenly condensed a mountain and river black robe, covering the man's body. Chapter 1682. Why didn't you condense a set of clothes after condensing your fleshly body? The man smirked at the woman. I forgot. The woman turned her head and said indifferently. Wang Feng shook his head helplessly. The fleshly body was condensed. The woman stood on the surface of the sea, but she seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. Wang Feng hurried over and supported Shiyu's shoulder. Didn't you say that half of the heavenly embryo's willpower would only delay your time to become a universe-level life form? Why does it look like it consumed a lot? She didn't say anything and allowed Wang Feng to support her. After a while, she left and walked in front of Wang Feng. She pointed at the black fog in front of them. You should think about how to deal with emotience in the God world. Wang Feng took a glance and closed his eyes in deep thought. He seemed to have thought of something. Also, emotience has appeared in Douluo world. She reminded him. However, Wang Feng laughed instead. Isn't that great? Wang Feng laughed. Emotience didn't descend with his true body, but his consciousness. Now, he even split his consciousness into three. I don't even need to use three souls as one to kill him. With that, a light appeared in Wang Feng's hand. It was Pango Axe. Change! Wang Feng shouted in a clear voice. In an instant, Pango Axe's light changed. The back of the axe turned into a chaos bell and flew towards the endless void. The blade of the axe also changed quietly and turned into 4 rays of ruthless light that rushed towards the God world. Go! Wang Feng followed the 4 rays of light and flew towards the God world. His eyes flashed with ruthlessness. Emotience, although your true body isn't here, I'll definitely make you fall from universe-level life form. Let's see the power of the immortal, exterminating 4 swords. At the same time, God world, the sky cracked as if a huge piece of glass had been blasted apart. Emotience stood above King City and looked down. Below, Tang Sin bent his body and stabbed the azure demon sword into the ground. He was barely holding on. He panted heavily as God blood gushed out from all parts of his body. On the other side, a huge silver dragon laid on the cracked ground far away. Not even 10 moves. An ant will always be an ant. Emotience shook his head. Even if it was just a consciousness, the huge difference in life form couldn't be covered with numbers. The difference was too great. Tang San's eyes were a little defeated, but there was also a little unwillingness in them. He sensed an even more powerful force. That kind of suppression was too exaggerated. It was a power that surpassed the origin. Previously, he could vaguely touch it, but now he realized that it was too far away. In fact, Emotience was just a consciousness clone. The galaxy hovering above his head was also like a mirage, and it emitted a power that was enough to suppress the billions of lives in the God realm. Even though he was a divine king, he couldn't break free from it. Even if he teamed up with the Silver Dragon, he would only be able to exchange 10 moves with Emotienga. 10 moves was already a lot. However, for Tang San, it was somewhat unacceptable. One had to know that he was no longer the same person he was when he fought against the Yama Master. Right now, he was gathering the power of all the gods in the God realm. He was in his best condition and at his strongest. They could only survive 10 moves if they joined hands. If Mo Tyan's true body were to descend, the divine world would probably collapse in an instant. How could they still have the chance to exchange blows? He closed his eyes. Was this the power of the pinnacle of the universe, which was above the deity world? Not in the God realm. It seems like you guys have made the people related to Wang Feng leave first. Mo Tinga swept a glance, and his eyes seemed to be able to see through the universe. He turned to the silver dragon. However, you and Tang San have a special relationship with Wang Feng. The karma between the two of you isn't small. Fine, it's just right to capture you back. As he spoke, he was about to make a move. Just then, a ray of blood light burst out from the Faith Temple, and an extremely arrogant voice was heard. Stop right there. Without my Long Xie's permission, how can a piece of trash like you touch my boss's woman and brother? As soon as he finished speaking, the Faith Temple, which was on the verge of breaking apart, suddenly burst out a dragon shadow. It was like clouds and mist, and eventually turned into a blood-colored human figure. He was wearing a blood-colored armor that was filled with all kinds of hideous ghost faces. At first glance, he looked extremely terrifying. Where did this reptile come from? Mo Tinga frowned slightly and sized him up. He seemed to have realized something. So, it's half a universe evil thought. No wonder you're so arrogant. Unfortunately, if you were a complete universe evil thought and condensed the heavenly evil will of the 1,000 Evil Dragon clan, this consciousness clone wouldn't be your match. However, you're nowhere close to the 1,000 Evil Dragon clan, let alone half a universe evil thought. Then Mo Tinga waved his hand lightly. In an instant, the illusory Milky Way started flowing. Boundless willpower pressed down. Long Xie grunted. The boundless evil aura made him look like an evil god. His aura was even stronger than Tang San's. However, Mo Tinga wasn't someone to be trifled with. Naturally, he couldn't resist the unreasonable willpower that surpassed his realm. The armor on his body cracked inch by inch. Long Xie was extremely pissed. He didn't know who this bastard was. It wasn't easy for him to cultivate in the Forbidden Region Divine Wall. He sensed something outside and wanted to come out to show off his skills. However, he didn't expect to encounter such a powerful guy. Brother Ice Chilin, if you don't come out now, I won't be able to hold on any longer. Explode. Long Xie roared furiously. Clenching his fists, he stared at the pressure and charged up. Coming. At the same time, a deep voice sounded. Similarly, a dazzling, icy light suddenly appeared from the Forbidden Region Divine Wall. What the Silver Dragon didn't know was that when Long Xie entered the Forbidden Region Divine Wall to cultivate, there was another person who entered as well. The difference was that Long Xie went in to absorb. Qilin Lord Ice Qilin went in to cultivate to temper himself. While the boundless evil thoughts were growing, he sealed himself in ice and suffered from the impact of the evil thoughts constantly. This made him stronger and his soul sublimated. It drove his strength to a higher level. Of course, it might not be as good as Long Xie, who directly absorbed the evil thoughts, but it wasn't much worse. Along with the icy mystic light, the powerful origin energy and Long Xie's evil thoughts converged into two terrifying origin energy light pillars that attacked Mo Tyan's. Mo Tyan's frowned slightly. He didn't expect to get rid of Tang San and the Silver Dragon. There were still two of them in the divine world. That Wang Feng wasn't bad. Futile struggle. Mo Tyan's gaze was indifferent as he pointed his finger. He casually pulled out several origin energies from the Star River intent and turned them into streams of light to collide with it. The intense light covered the entire sky of the divine world. After a long time, it slowly returned to normal. F*CK, Brother Ice Chilin, this bastard is too strong. Long Xie had turned into a ball of pure blood-red light with a flickering dragon shadow. I was beaten back to my original form. Brother, you don't seem to be any better than me. Qilin Lord Ice Chilin. He probably didn't expect to encounter such a powerful enemy as soon as he came out. He could only remain silent. Is there anyone in the divine world who can still struggle? Emotiance glanced around and shook his head lightly. Seems like there isn't, right at this moment. 4 streaks of light suddenly descended from the sky with boundless aura. They landed in 4 different directions and emitted boundless, ferocious aura. The sky cracked open and golden light descended. A calm voice accompanied a figure that descended from the golden light. Is that so? Chapter 1683. A calm voice sounded like a clap of thunder. That figure descended under the golden light like a deity descending to the mortal world. F***CK boss. The dragon shadow in the bloody light said angrily. I knew that boss would come. The person who came was naturally Wang Feng. Not too late. Just in time. Big brother Feng? He came at this time. Tang San was equally shocked, but he was more worried. Previously, Big Brother Feng barely escaped by self-detonating in the Dark Devil world. Now that he was facing Emotiance again, he didn't know. No, with Big Brother Feng's character, he wouldn't appear if he wasn't certain of winning. Could it be? Tang San looked at the 4 strange lights around him. Those are 4 swords? Tang San's mind shook. He felt that this world was completely split by the aura of the 4 swords, forming a unique space. Especially when he was restrained by the 4 swords, he felt an extreme aura of death. It was as if the 4 swords had killed countless deities and Buddhas. What weapon is that? Immortal exterminating 4 swords. The Pangu axe was formed by the blade and contained extreme killing aura. It was truly the best prehistoric treasure to kill deities and demons. Because Emotiance's consciousness was still in the Douluo world, Wang Feng naturally couldn't only use the Pangu axe here. After cultivating the yin-yang intersection origin with yin Qingjue, the Pangu axe true soul's recovery had reached 70%. The back of the axe had turned into the chaos bell, and the blade could turn into the immortal exterminating 4 swords. After cultivating the yin-yang intersection origin with Shi Yu, the Pangu axe true soul's recovery had reached more than 90%. With the divine might of the Pangu axe true soul, the immortal exterminating 4 swords had reached an extremely terrifying level. Ha ha ha! Wang Feng, I didn't expect you to have the guts to come out. Emotiance looked at the figure in mid-air. I'm very curious. The creation devil source isn't at ease and allowed you to cultivate in the soul domain to recuperate. Why would it let you out? Could it be that you've already broken the remaining shackles? As he spoke, he looked at the 4 swords with a strange gaze. Otherwise, Wang Feng looked at him calmly. I've already broken the remaining shackles. Oh, Emotiance was slightly taken aback before he sneered. Impossible. You self-destructed your body, and your soul spirit is extremely weak after entering the soul world. Don't even talk about breaking those shackles in such a short time. You can't even touch it. However, looking at your current aura, your body can still be reforged, and your soul is not weak either. You must have had a fortuitous encounter in the soul world, right? Unfortunately, Yin Qingjue is only a demonic source of creation. The fortuitous encounters she can give you are limited. As soon as he finished speaking, Emotiance suddenly attacked, without any warning. With a raise of his hand, the illusory galaxy was like a waterfall that swept across the starry sky, sweeping towards Wang Feng. Boundless will press down, enough to annihilate the divine soul of a god king. He was much stronger than before. However, when the boundless galaxy touched Wang Feng's body, the sky distorted. Wang Feng's figure was still far away, but there was no change. Emotiance's galaxy willpower was completely ineffective. Emotiance frowned slightly. You have the aura of Godworld's heaven Tao on you. That's not right. Even the heavenly Tao of the God realm cannot avoid the will of the universe. His expression turned solemn. Something wasn't right. He might only be a consciousness clone, and the galaxy willpower wasn't complete, but as long as he executed it, any life form below the universe level wouldn't be unharmed. His opponent might have changed a lot, but he didn't become a universe-level life form. Why was that so? At this moment, Tyance had many questions in his mind. Suddenly, a thought flashed across his mind. It's time. You escaped into the God world's time. Tyance's expression turned gloomy. Time doesn't exist in the universe. Unless I condense the complete galaxy willpower. Your soul has fused with the God world, but it's impossible for you to survive in the long river of time. You will definitely be implicated by the universe's karma and die by it. But I didn't die. Wang Feng smiled. I am invincible in the God world now. Tyance's expression began to change. In a sense, it was indeed so. However, why was that so? Tom didn't give him much time to think. Kill. Wang Feng uttered a word softly. The next moment, the four immortal extermination swords that locked onto Tyance from four directions turned into a stream of light, slicing the sky into pieces and attacking Tyance. Trying to escape? Wang Feng could roughly tell that Tyance was making a move. However, as a universe-level life form, his premonition was too strong. You won't be able to escape. Wang Feng pointed to the sky. In an instant, time and space stopped. Everything in the God world seemed to have fallen into dead silence. The long river of time was reversing at this moment. It was retreating. A mere world's time, and you want to trap this deity? Tyance was greatly shocked. He wasn't completely afraid of the four swords, but he was afraid that Wang Feng had already fused with the God world. It was as though he was in Wang Feng's territory, and Wang Feng could mobilize all the forces in the God world. However, he couldn't. He could only forcefully break into the God world. However, if that was the case, rumble. A muffled, ancient sound rang out in the divine realm. It was as if something had been broken. A universe-level life form's consciousness was completely capable of destroying the God world. However, that would require time as well. As long as Tyance dared to make a move and didn't focus on escaping, he would lose. Seeing this, Wang Feng smiled faintly. When he appeared, he knew that Tyance wouldn't be able to escape, because it was a dead end. As expected, when Tyance said that, he was stunned. He had thought it through. Escaping meant death. Attacking meant death. In a battle of this level, victory and defeat would be decided in an instant. In other worlds, this instant could be tens of thousands of years. Sword light overflowed. They pierced into Tyance's body from four different directions. The four extremely ferocious swords let out endless sword cries. The swords began to emit destructive rays, as though they were absorbing the energy from Tyance's body. Wang Feng remained standing at the same spot, looking at the ladder. All of a sudden, he trembled. Ew. How could you still appear in that world? He let out a low voice as though he was talking in his sleep. You are a remnant of that world? I see. I was wondering why this plaything looked so familiar. Haha. Gradually, Tyance disappeared. Most of the majestic energy was absorbed into the four immortal exterminating swords. Wang Feng's expression was calm, as though he had already expected it. Everything was so casual, as though it wasn't a decisive battle at all. This guy. In the sea of reincarnation, she saw this scene and pursed her lips. Actually, Wang Feng didn't win easily. Tyance used the universe's consciousness to suppress him. Although Wang Feng escaped into time, he didn't want to harm the foundation of the God world. He still bore a portion of the majority of the consciousness. His physical body was almost instantly shattered and reassembled. However, in the river of time, Wang Feng erased this scene. Hence, Tyance couldn't see it. He could only see Wang Feng at that moment. After all, if the God world was damaged, she would be severely injured as well. Of course, Wang Feng let the God world bear the brunt of it. He wouldn't be harmed at all. End of this chapter. Chapter 1684. He's not bad, right? Beside Shiyu, Yin Qingjue's figure slowly appeared as she spoke leisurely. Hey, you picked him. Do I have a choice? Shiyu's cold eyes swept across. Although I watched this guy grow, he has long exceeded our control. It is indeed extraordinary for him to grow to such a stage. However, if he wants to rebuild the great desolate world, he will face many obstacles. You really want to drag me into this mess? Shi looked at Yin Qingjue with burning eyes. What else? Yin Qingjue said seriously. That is origin tribulation divine, king's lifelong dream. You have received his favor. It is not bad to help him. Moreover, rebuilding the great desolate heavenly court is immensely beneficial to both of us. I have more or less received the favor. Shi said indifferently. Stop trying to bewitch me. Rebuilding the great desolate world is forget it. He is not origin tribulation divine king after all. This guy is not so competitive. He might not want to rebuild the great desolate world. This is more to my liking. Yin Qingjue shook her head slightly. The divine world does not compete. You do not compete as well. You are the same. Being too Buddha-like is not a good thing, especially for the current you and him. His time soul of the origin wheel can touch the will of destiny. He has unlimited possibilities. Yin Qingjue said leisurely. She was silent. Divine world. Wang Feng didn't feel good after dealing with Mo Tiance so easily. When Mo Tiance used the will of the galaxy to suppress him, he used his body to resist for a while in order to temper his new body. How could his body resist the suppression of the will of the universe? Look at little 3 below. He had gathered the power of the gods, but his legs were weak and his waist was numb. He could not even stand properly. Moreover, Mo Tiance did not want to kill him. Therefore, he did not use his full strength. However, he would definitely use his full strength against Wang Feng. Therefore, Wang Feng immediately used the time soul of the origin wheel to return to his body after the body was shattered. In that instant, the cycle repeated countless times and the body was shattered countless times. It was rather interesting to use the time soul of the origin wheel in this way. As a result, his body was much stronger than before. After thinking for a while, Wang Feng flew down and reached out to Tang San with a grin. Little 3, you can't do it. You're already a divine king. Why can't you exchange a few blows with that guy? Tang San took it and stood up reluctantly. He said, Yeah, Brother Feng, didn't you blow yourself up before? I can barely exchange a few moves with him. Wang Feng, the two of them smiled at each other. It was as if they had returned to the Holy Soul Village. How is it? Wang Feng asked. It's all right. I definitely won't die. However, after seeing such a powerful force, my mind is a little unsettled. Tang San sighed slightly. Wang Feng patted Tang San's shoulder and said, Don't worry. The God Realm will become stronger and stronger in the future. It's not impossible for us to surpass Mo Tiance. Big Brother Feng, I can understand why you're so confident, but isn't it very difficult to reach the God Realm? Tang San asked doubtfully. Wang Feng coughed a few times. The heavenly Tao of your God world has already cultivated the yin-yang intersection origin with me, which is equivalent to the God world and me becoming one. Of course, I can't leave the God world behind. However, it would be troublesome to explain this point, so Wang Feng didn't say it. All right, Brother Feng, you're in the God world now. However, that Mo Tiance is a consciousness clone. He's also in the Douluo world now. Tang San quickly reminded him. Don't worry. Wang Feng smiled slightly. I'm also in the Douluo world now. Tang San didn't understand, but he understood something. That Tang San pointed at the silver dragon in the distance and coughed a few times. Wang Feng nodded. He walked over. The silver dragon had already turned into a human form, leaning against a corner of the broken wall of King City. Golden light shone on her body, causing layers of silver light to flicker. However, her eyes were a little tired. She wasn't the silver moon. She was the silver dragon who went to the God world with Wang Feng. She seemed to have sensed Wang Feng's arrival. The silver dragon tilted her head slightly and looked at Wang Feng. Her cold tone was as usual. You're back. Wang Feng was stunned. When he went to the dark demon world, he parted ways with the silver dragon in the void domain. She said that she would cultivate in the God world and wait for him to return. However, Wang Feng changed too much after going to the dark demon world. Even though his current physical body looked exactly the same as before, It was impossible for him to be the Wang Feng who went to the God world with them. Your appearance doesn't seem to have changed much, the silver dragon said again. Did you become more handsome or uglier? Wang Feng walked over and leaned against her side. The silver dragon lowered her head and pondered seriously for a few seconds. Her silvery, blood-stained hair fluttered slightly from her cheeks, adding a hint of poignant beauty to her temperament. No change, the silver dragon said. Wang Feng smiled. How could not change? The one who didn't change should be the Wang Feng in her heart. That silver moon, what's the matter? Wang Feng chatted with her softly. The silver moon was a little embarrassed. She turned her head slightly, then looked up and said, I couldn't help it. Wang Feng. She couldn't help it, so she forced out her desires and emotions first? Wang Feng's forehead was covered in cold sweat. What about now? Wang Feng asked. Much better. The silver dragon glanced at Wang Feng. Because the dragon scales are on your body. Wang Feng suddenly realized. I will always carry them with me in the future, Wang Feng said. The silver dragon nodded. Suddenly, she leaned her head on Wang Feng's shoulder. I haven't seen Bicky and the others for a long time. They should have cultivated to God world and the Douluo world, right? The silver dragon whispered. Wang Feng just thought of it. There probably weren't many soul beasts in the God world who cultivated to God world. In fact, there was only one silver dragon. Cultivating in the God world, one wouldn't know how lonely it was. At that time, the passage between the God world and the Douluo world hadn't opened yet. I want to go to the Douluo world to see them, the silver dragon said. Well, it's better not to go to the Douluo world for now. Wang Feng opened his mouth. He didn't see Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong in the God world, which meant that Tang Xin must have asked them to go to the Douluo world to provide support. Wang Feng remembered that before he self-destructed, Bibi Don was also in the Douluo world. If he went down now, wouldn't it be a hodgepodge? You're seriously injured now. You should rest well in the God world. After a while, I'll go down with you. Wang Feng said seriously. Okay. The silver dragon didn't object. Wang Feng breathed a sigh of relief. The silver dragon was not a human, and its emotions didn't seem to be as complicated as humans. It seemed that most soul beasts were like this. Thinking of this, a beautiful figure appeared in Wang Feng's mind. Are you here too? The silver dragon asked again, seeming to notice that Wang Feng was absent-minded. Yes, I won't leave for the time being. Then my injury should recover very quickly. Wang Feng's gaze scattered slightly, as if he had traveled through time, through the God world, and with a little trance he saw the Douluo world. Chapter 1685. In the same timeline. Almost at the same time, when Wang Feng's split soul went to the God realm to condense a physical body. Douluo world. The blue sky was filled with colorful lights. Majestic energy would erupt under the clouds from time to time, bursting out with mysterious power. Zhu Zhuqing looked at the sky and frowned slightly. The Douluo world has become much stronger than we imagined. She said to Ning Rongrong and Shui Bing, Yeah, I didn't expect that after the passage was sealed for so long, this world would have such a huge change. Ning Rongrong was silent as she looked at every corner of her sight. They were in the great Stardow forest. This was a place where they had countless memories. I wonder if the God realm is doing well. Shui Bing, tilted her head and looked at the two gods who had special positions in the God realm. Why did Sister Xiao Wu send us to Douluo world? Will that MO Tiance really come? Xiao Wu asked them, Dai Mubai, Oscar, and the others to go to Douluo world together. They were divided into different teams and headed to different locations in Douluo world to make sufficient preparations. The descent of the gods was a huge blow to Douluo world. Although the situation in Douluo world had changed greatly, these ancestors who had left legends on the continent and became gods still had commemorative statues. Hearing this, Ning Rongrong clenched her fists and said fiercely, If he dares to come, I will definitely cut this MO Tiance into pieces. He actually dared to make Wang Feng self-destruct. Boo-hoo. Stinky guy. Why did he go to the Dark Demon realm for no reason? Is that woman so good? From a fierce look, the more she spoke, the more she cried. He didn't go to the dark demon realm just because of a woman. Zhu Zhuqing patted Ning Rongrong's shoulder. After all, although they were rivals in love, they had already become allies in the god realm, and their relationship wasn't ordinary. What else could it be? With his character, is it to become stronger to protect us? Ning Rongrong said, can't one cultivate to become stronger in the god realm? It's different. Zhu Zhuqing shook her head and recalled her experience in the dark demon realm. When I see his body, I want to see if Wang Feng is really dead. Ning Rongrong pouted. Water Ice didn't dare to say anything. He could only mutter in his heart, Sister Rongrong has already become a god, but she still has this personality. Perhaps it was because of his lover. Lover? Yep. She looked at the distant sacred mountain. Speaking of which, it had been a long time since she last saw him. When the three of them arrived at the Divine Mountain, they discovered that the Divine Mountain was empty. There was no one around. It seems that the seal on Sumera Mountain has been broken. His body should have been taken away. Zhu Zhuqing pondered and said, when we were in the Dark Devil realm, he told me that he cultivated a kind of divine ability. He was able to transform into several people, and all of them possessed great strength. The Dai Devil God that was resurrected in the Dark Devil world was his clone in disguise. Huh. Ning Rongrong seemed to have heard something incredible. Even Shui Bing was stunned. In that case, the Dai Devil God that came to our divine realm back then was Wang Feng himself? Water Ice exclaimed. Zhu Zhuqing nodded. Wang Feng had told her about this before. It was just that she was already in the Dark Devil world at that time. Bastard. Ning Rongrong gritted her teeth. No wonder I felt that there was something wrong with that Dai Devil God back then. Damn it. He didn't even tell me. This old lady has waited for you for so many years in vain. You deserve to self-destruct. I'm so angry. Zhu Zhuqing whispered a few words in Ning Rongrong's ear. Ning Rongrong's cheeks reddened. She snorted coldly and didn't say anything more. Water Ice was a little curious. She didn't know what Zhu Zhuqing was talking about. She wanted to hear it. His body should only be on that woman. Ning Rongrong pursed her lips. Either it's in the extreme north. That place is very special to Wang Feng. Or it's taken by that woman. It's hidden somewhere. If Mo Tyans goes to the Divine Realm, he will definitely come to the Douluo world. He might even capture the entire extreme north in one fell swoop. Let's go to the extreme north first. He has so many underlings. We have to help him protect a few. If they're all gone, he will be very sad when he comes back to life. Water Ice nodded. Sister Rongrong had a sharp tongue, but a soft heart. The three of them turned into a stream of light and headed towards the extreme north. With their speed, it only took them a short while to reach the extreme north. The changes here are the smallest. The place that changed the least in the Douluo world was the extreme north. It was covered in ice and snow all year round. The life aura of soul beasts filled the entire extreme north. As the water god, Ning Rongrong felt that water was the origin of all living things. She scanned with her divine sense and covered the entire extreme north. The Douluo world is developing really well. Ning Rongrong said softly. In the extreme north, there are cultivation bases specially built by humans for soul beasts. They contain a lot of soul guidance technology and are used to communicate with the soul beasts in the extreme north, as well as nurture their young. In our era, how would humans dare to build a base in such a dangerous soul beast center? He changed the entire Douluo world. Can you sense it? Zhu Zhuqing asked. I can't. Ning Rongrong shook her head slightly. Although there are many soul beasts, the strongest ones aren't here. They must have been taken away in advance. They should have been taken away by her. Zhu Zhuqing pondered. Then where is the remaining place? Ning Rongrong searched for a location in her mind. She looked at Zhu Zhuqing and said at the same time, Sea God's Island? That's right, that's the Sea God's Island. I think we can ask the two soul beasts in the extreme north. Shui Bing suggested. After all, Emperor Qing and the others are the overlords of the extreme north. If they left, these soul beasts should know, right? It seems so. Were we guessing blindly? Ning Rongrong was stunned for a moment before she reacted. She patted Shui Binger on the shoulder and said, "Sister Binger, you are really smart." Shui Binger smiled awkwardly. It was obviously Sister Rongrong and the others who were too impatient and neglected the most basic methods. Shui Binger communicated with the soul beast here with her divine sense. She was the ice god in the extreme north. She had a natural affinity with almost all the soul beasts and soon found out the news. "How is the situation?" Ning Rongrong asked. "Emperor Qing and the others did leave with a woman," Shui Binger said, "but they don't know where they went. However, not long after they left, they said that another woman came to find them." Speaking of this, Shui Binger added, "An angel. An angel? It's her? Didn't she leave the divine world?" Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing looked at each other and became even more serious. "Great. Now they're all gathered together. If Mo Tiance comes, won't they be able to catch them all? It's so annoying. It wasn't easy for us to come down, but someone beat us to it." Ning Rongrong pouted. "We can't even find a body. That Qianren Xue even came back. Are we going to cut his body into 8 pieces and split it between us for safekeeping?" Shui Binger wanted to laugh, but she also wanted to ask if she was qualified to keep a piece if he was really cut into 8 pieces. Let's go to the Sea God's Island first. The Douluo world has now been unified. If we don't have any news, Chi-Chi and the others should have some news, Zhu Zhuqing said. The 3 of them went to the Sea God's Island without stopping. However, the Sea God's Island was no longer in its original position. Furthermore, the Martial Spirit Federation had built it into a soul tool city. When the 3 of them arrived, they saw a very interesting scene. A huge flying object in the shape of a sword was floating in midair. It looked extremely gorgeous. The Divine World and the Douluo world didn't have such a huge flying object. In the middle of the sword hilt, there was a throne. A golden-haired woman sat on the throne with her legs crossed. She looked at the Sea God's Island with an unfriendly expression. She was also surrounded by human experts. Chapter 1686. You humans, the arrival of my lord is a gift from the heavens. It's fine if you're not grateful, but how dare you attack him? How foolish. Standing beside the blonde woman was an angel with a pair of pitch-black wings. She was wearing exquisite armor and had her hands on her hips as she spoke angrily to the Sea God's Island. Zhu Zhuqing and the other 2 were stunned. Their expressions were very serious. As gods, they could naturally sense that the little angel with the unruly tone was very powerful. The woman sitting on the throne exuded a different aura. "That's Qianren Xue? How did she become like this?" Ning Rongrong whispered. "Why does she have a very special aura? It's even stronger than her mother's. It's even stronger than third brother's." Zhu Zhuqing frowned and didn't say anything. At this moment, the blonde woman turned around. She seemed to have noticed the 3. "Huh." A faint smile appeared on her face. "What's wrong, Queen? Do you know these 3? Angel Yu asked curiously. After the Great Star Doe Forest, Queen wanted to go to the Divine Realm, but she suddenly realized that this world was quite interesting. She said she wanted to walk around again, so she came to this place. In fact, Angel Yu knew that Queen was probably still looking for the man called Wang Feng. People? They're not people, they're gods. They're gods from the Divine Realm. The woman said slowly. However, the Divine Realm is just a name that they call themselves. It's actually a higher level world. It's slightly inferior to the blazing sun star. Then these 3, Angel Yu glanced at them. They were all beautiful women. They're old friends, the woman said. Friends? Not really. They're love rivals, the woman said indifferently. Love rivals. Then they're enemies. Angel Yu said, I'll kill them for Queen. With that, a light flashed in her hand and an angelic sword appeared. Shall you wait? The woman choked and quickly stopped her. Love rivals, not enemies. Queen, what does that mean? Angel Yu frowned. In human language, isn't an emotional enemy? Isn't that an enemy? This. The woman frowned slightly. She felt a little helpless towards this one-track-minded and immature little angel. Forget it. Stay here and don't move. The woman looked at the vigilant human experts around her and yawned slightly. Then she cracked her knuckles. In an instant, these human powerhouses were rooted to the ground like statues. The woman flew over and waved her hand casually at Zhu Zhuqing and the others. What are you doing here instead of staying in the god world? Qianren Xue, I haven't seen you in so many years. You've become a lot more arrogant. Ning Rongrong replied in an imposing manner. What, after so many years, you still haven't forgotten about Wang Feng? Is it because you feel that you've become stronger, so you want to come back and control him? Kick us away one by one? The woman laughed involuntarily. With her current status, forget it, they wouldn't understand anyway. How dare you? You gods, how dare you speak to Monarch Tian Xiu like this? Hearing Ning Rongrong's disrespectful words, Angel, you couldn't hold it in anymore. Holding the angel in her hand, she slashed at the three of them. Zhu Zhu frowned and disappeared from where she stood. In an instant, the space froze. Countless light figures intertwined in the air. It felt like countless years, but also like an instant. Suddenly, an explosion sounded in the air. The sky turned from gray to bright. Two figures exploded. Zhu Zhuqing stood on the spot. Angel Yu retreated until she was several hundred meters behind the woman. Then, she flew back with a red face. Shouldn't you take care of your subordinates? Zhu Zhuqing said indifferently. The woman waved her hand. Angel Yu looked at Zhu Zhuqing with unwillingness and desire. Enough, little Yu. You're still not her match. After all, Wang Feng helped her a lot. The woman's eyes flickered. Countless runes flickered. With her current strength, it shouldn't be a problem for her to take on 10 of you. Even God Kings might not be her match. TSK, Wang Feng's methods are good. Her tone was somewhat mocking. That's right. Wang Feng helped us a lot. Ning Rongrong smiled proudly. Why? Are you envious? You left the God realm for so long. It must be hard for you to have no one to help you, right? How pitiful. Hearing Ning Rongrong's eccentric words, Zhu Zhuqing held her forehead and didn't say anything. Why would I need his help? The woman said indifferently. Only women like you who are a burden to him would need his help. TSK. Back then, I wonder who and her mother were a burden to Wang Feng. Ning Rongrong had never lost to anyone when it came to quarreling. You caused my Wang Feng to be sealed for 10,000 years, especially when it came to quarreling with women. The woman clenched the side of the throne. My king is angry. Angel Yu was frightened. The woman opposite her was a bit fierce. She actually angered the king? How many years had it been? How could she still anger the king? But, seeing the two sides arguing back and forth, Angel Yu's forehead started to sweat. Could this be a battle between women? Oh no, it was a battle between love rivals. Rather than arguing with me here, Ning Rongrong, I advise you to think about it carefully. With your little strength, how can you help him? The woman took a deep breath and said indifferently, If I were you, I would leave him obediently. That's none of your business. Why don't you leave? Do you think that you can help him after becoming stronger? Ning Rongrong laughed. I think that he doesn't need any woman's help at all. He only needs to like me, and I like him. That's enough. After leaving the God realm and cultivating for so many years, you still don't understand such a simple principle. Actually, Rongrong is right. Zhu Zhuqing nodded. When two people are together, what can be more important than liking each other? You don't understand. The woman shook her head. Or rather, Wang Feng doesn't want you to understand. Your level is too low. I can't stand her high and mighty appearance. Ning Rongrong tilted her head and said to Zhu Zhuqing, She's very strong. We can't beat her, and Tang San can't as well. She has the confidence and strength, right? Zhu Zhuqing said honestly. So what? Ning Rongrong snorted. First of all, she has to be a woman. Look at her now. She's even stronger than her mother. If I were Wang Feng, wouldn't it be tiring to be with such a woman? Zhu Zhuqing smiled. With Wang Feng's nature, he didn't care about anything. Perhaps he liked the strength of others. Conquering them would feel better. After becoming a god for so many years, you're still so childish. The woman shook her head. You haven't improved at all. That's true. There's nothing wrong with being a canary. When a man is tired, he will always tease her. These words angered Ning Rongrong. What's wrong with being a canary? She can always be likable. Unlike some people, after so many years. Ning Rongrong retorted loudly. However, at this moment, a pitch-black figure appeared in midair, accompanied by a cold voice. Enough. Chapter 1687. The sudden voice caused the entire place to fall silent. It was very neat. Before Ning Rongrong could finish her retort, she had no choice but to stop. What time is it now? The pitch-black figure floated in the air and said coldly, Since you're here, then come in. After saying that, the figure looked at the woman and remained silent for a long time. Then, it said, With your current status, is it appropriate for you to argue with them? The woman on the throne stood up with an imposing aura. She seemed to want to say something, but she closed her mouth again. At the same time, a special wall of light appeared in the center of the sea god's island. It looked like a door. Oomph. The woman snorted and walked towards the wall of light. Zhu Zhuqing and the other two immediately followed. Ning Rongrong whispered, I knew it. Wang Feng's body must have been taken away by BB Dawn. Apart from her, no one else can be so fast. That pitch-black figure was BB Dawn. That wall of light seems to be connected to another world. Zhu Zhuqing muttered, Strange. She left such a passage on the sea god's island. What world does it lead to? Won't we know once we go in? Ning Rongrong impatiently walked towards the wall of light. The first thing that entered their eyes was the blue sky. It was a primitive world with incomparably abundant energy. It was even more abundant than the divine world. There were mountains and rivers that towered above the clouds. There were strange and mysterious vegetation. It was as if they had arrived at a primitive and powerful world. In the sky, there were 7 dazzling light sources hanging in different directions. Those were the auras of the origin. Each one was stronger than the last. What is this place? The 3 women were shocked. My queen, this world seems to have extraordinary potential. On the other side, Angel Yu followed the woman and rode the throne to this world. I've fought in the Angel Nebula for so many years, but I've never seen a world with such great potential. If it develops in the future, even a blazing sunstar will be far from it. Angel Yu said seriously. The woman looked around and narrowed her eyes. Every flower and tree in this world has an endless aura. It should be an ancient civilization that was born. His potential is enormous. If the king said so, then this world must be extraordinarily powerful. They were 100 meters in the air, but they could only see a small corner of the world. However, with the strength of a heaven cultivation king, he could naturally feel the changes in the world as a whole with just a thought. Vigorous and powerful. It was still developing, and it might take a long time, but his future was limitless. At this moment, a white cloud floated over from afar. The white clouds transformed into a table. Screech. In the distance, a clear cry resounded through the sky. A 7-colored blue wand flew over majestically. When it got close to them, it turned into a beautiful woman in green. Qing Di, she immediately exclaimed, Are you really here? This woman was really the Lotus Emperor, the overlord of the extreme north, the little green bird that Wang Feng had saved back then. Yes. Qing looked at them with a worried expression. However, she still smiled at Zhu Zhuqing and the others and asked, Madams, are you all well? Seeing her like this, Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong's hearts sank. Where's Wang Feng? The woman on the throne asked, Is he okay? Qing looked at the woman and said, Are you asking as a madam or as you are now? If it's the former, I can answer you. If it's the latter, I'm sorry. I can't reveal the master's information. You. The woman stood up and frowned. Madam, how can the king be your madam? Angel Yu opened her eyes wide. Don't talk nonsense. In the entire universe, no one is worthy of our Angel Nebula's king. Qing didn't say anything. The woman closed her eyes and said, I'm no longer Qianren Xue. I'm Heaven Cultivation King. Angel Yu heard this and breathed a sigh of relief. How could the faith in her heart, the creator of the Dark Order, the Angel Nebula's king admit to being someone else's madam? Wasn't this indirectly admitting that the king had a man? If this was true, then her faith would collapse. Then I'm sorry, I can't tell you. Ching Ching replied, and I can't let you see master. Ning Rong Rong sneered. Then why did you quarrel with me outside, just now? Ning Rong Rong's eyes revealed undisguised disdain. You don't even admit that you have a relationship with Wang Feng. Why are you quarreling with me? Heaven Cultivation King pondered for a moment. She took off the golden crown from her head and said slowly, Now, I'm Qian Renxue. I'm your madam. Tell me, Angel Yu. She looked at this scene with a dumbfounded expression. Ching Ching was slightly stunned. She smiled and said, Okay, come with me. With that, she led them and flew into the distance. It didn't take long for the group to arrive in front of a quiet pool. The pool's energy was extremely rich. Even the pool water was filled with energy that was more majestic than the immortal spirit Qi of the divine realm. In the center, an indistinct green lotus spun leisurely in the dark pool. And in the center of the green lotus, there was a man lying there. Seeing this man, Ning Rongrong's eyes turned sour. She almost cried. No matter how rich the pool's energy was, she could feel that Wang Feng's body in the green lotus had any signs of life. His body was clearly filled with majestic life energy, but he didn't have any signs of life. He just didn't have a soul. Until now, Master still hasn't shown any signs of waking up. Ching Ching sighed. How could? Heaven Cultivation King muttered. Wasn't he sealed in the divine mountain to cultivate? Where's his soul? Ching Ching couldn't explain. The matter was too complicated. This madam had been gone for too long. It was impossible to explain everything in a short time. Zhu Zhuqing knew the reason. She and Ning Rongrong both came from the divine realm. They knew what happened in the dark demon realm. King, he is. Angel Yu glanced at him. This was the man that King came all the way across the universe to this place to find. She looked charming, but unfortunately, she was dead. Heaven Cultivation King wasn't in the mood to answer Angel Yu. Her gaze was attracted by that figure. Her breathing was a little suffocating. She didn't expect. She returned with such an identity. She knew that she had definitely surpassed her mother. She wanted to stand in front of Wang Feng and tell him that she had become stronger and would never be a burden. She could stay by his side with peace of mind. However, she didn't expect that the moment she returned. In the end, he was gone. Heaven Cultivation King took 2 steps back. With her eyes, how could she not see that there was no soul in that body? No matter how strong his body was, it was still just a body. What was the point? Why? Why? Heaven Cultivation King said in a dreamy voice. Ning Rongrong pursed her lips and didn't say anything. Because she already knew the news in the divine realm, she was already prepared. She just held on, thinking that Wang Feng could always create miracles. How could he die? Even if he died, it would definitely be a fake death. After all, there was such an example in the Douluo world. However, it was no longer the Douluo world. End of this chapter. Chapter 1688. Zhuqing, he's not dead, right? Ning Rongrong asked. No. Zhu Zhuqing's body trembled slightly, but she still answered. Oh, that's good. Ning Rongrong patted her chest and smiled. Looking at Ning Rongrong and Zhu Zhuqing's expressions, she knew that they were trying to convince themselves. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to hold on. Not dead. Heaven Cultivation Monarch was stronger than the 2 girls and more knowledgeable. Naturally, he knew that the possibility was too low. No matter how strong Wang Feng was, the best possibility was that he was like Queen Keisha back then. His soul was indestructible, but turned into particles and disappeared in the universe. There was a possibility of resurrection, but it would take many years. And this was based on Wang Feng's strength being on the same level as Holy Keisha. In fact, Heaven Cultivation Monarch thought that it was impossible. How could he not be dead? He is indeed not dead. At this moment, a faint voice sounded. A woman in a black robe slowly walked over from afar. The woman's once majestic face seemed unaffected by the erosion of time and was still as perfect as before. Mother, How can you be sure? Heaven Cultivation Monarch turned around and looked at her. The woman glanced at Heaven Cultivation Monarch with a complicated look in her eyes. How many years had it been? His daughter finally came back. He didn't even need to look for her, and she came back by herself. Thinking about it, if she could let go, Wang Feng wouldn't be able to find her. If she couldn't let go, her heart would still be with Wang Feng. Why would she need Wang Feng to search for her? His daughter's current appearance was even better than his back then. "BB Don, what do you mean?" Ning Rongrong's breathing quickened. She walked over and grabbed the woman's shoulder. "To think that you've known him for so long." BB Don wasn't angry. She just said indifferently, "If he's dead, would I still be standing here in one piece? Right now, the enemy is near. It's better to prepare how to face the enemy. Standing here in one piece." Heaven Cultivation Monarch looked at BB Don in a daze. "What enemy?" she asked. BB Don flicked his finger. A wisp of consciousness divine light entered Heaven Alchemy King's brain. In an instant, many experiences flashed through Tian Xiao King's mind like a movie. "Got it?" BB Don asked. Heaven Cultivation King was silent for a moment before nodding slightly. BB Don shared Wang Feng's experience with her without any explanation. "When will he return?" Heaven Cultivation King asked in a low voice. "Why? You can't wait to prove it to him?" Bibidin's eyes reflected Tian Xiao King's figure. She felt as if she was looking at her past self. Heaven Xiao King was silent. She shook her head. "I just want to see him." How could BB Don not understand his daughter? She was even prouder than himself. Now that his identity was so special, how could he admit it? Angel Yu, who was at the side, opened her mouth wide. She felt that the image of Heavenly Cultivation King in her heart was about to collapse. "All right, what is this world?" Zhu Zhuqing suddenly asked. BB Don was just about to explain when the world suddenly trembled. "Emotiance is here. Let's go out first. This world can't suffer any losses now." BB Don said in a deep voice. "You have seen him. His body is still here, but his soul spirit isn't. You don't have to worry for now. Next, that emotiance is the most difficult to deal with. Then let's go out and take a look." Heaven Cultivation King nodded indifferently. "I want to see what kind of person this emotiance is." Angel Yu felt a strong, murderous aura coming from him. Her heart trembled. The king of Angel Nebula, the creator of the Dark Order, is finally back. She exclaimed in excitement. At the same time, Douluo world, the bright sky suddenly darkened. The boundless sea began to surge with huge waves. Above the clouds, there was only a devil figure. The aura of the heavenly demon supremacy in that world's aura. "It's you guys." Emotiant's expression flashed with a trace of joy. "I didn't expect Wang Feng to give you the eternal god slaying. What a waste of effort. It's such a waste for such a world to fall into the hands of ants like you." He closed his eyes and waited for a moment. Like a hunter, he quietly waited for a prey that had nowhere else to go. Not long later, above the sea god's island, the light wall flickered and several figures appeared in the clouds. BB Don looked at the devil figure above the clouds and remained silent. Before Wang Feng self-detonated in the ancestral realm, he handed everything to her, including the eternal god slaying and the ancestral realm controlled by Yan Mengyao. When she came to the Douluo world, the first thing she did was to prevent Wang Feng's physical body from being damaged. She brought Wang Feng's body away from the sacred mountain. Then, she brought along a few people who were very important to Wang Feng. On one hand, she brought them into the ancestral realm, hoping to help that world with endless potential develop first. On the other hand, she wanted to conceal them. But BB Don knew that this method could only be used to conceal them for a while. Emotiance was a universe life form after all. It was too easy for him to find them. Even the destruction of the Douluo world could be done with a flick of his finger. Even the current Douluo world. But Emotiance wouldn't do that. BB Don knew that Wang Feng's soul had gone to another world. Emotiance knew it too. Therefore, he would only capture them and force Wang Feng's soul out. He would drag it out as long as he could. That is Emotiance. Tian Xiao Monarch frowned slightly. Wang Feng provoked such a powerful enemy? This guy's aura is much stronger than those godly kings in the divine world. He didn't provoke, but a trap. The situation is very complicated. Wang Feng still has secrets in the experience I told you. I haven't solved them yet. BB Don said softly. Now, we can only see how long he can last. I have a feeling that he will be back soon. Tianxiu Monarch snorted softly. Furthermore, this emotiance might just be a consciousness clone. BB Don said in a deep voice. He should have gone to the divine world at the same time. Because of this emotiance aura, I can feel that he is much stronger than Wang Feng. Back then, he fought with Wang Feng in the Dark Devil world. Consciousness clone, Tianxiu Monarch was slightly startled. He couldn't help but curse. Wang Feng always provokes experts who are dozens of times stronger than him. It was the same back then. Although she said that, she still patted the throne lightly. Suddenly, she thought of something and couldn't help but look at Ning Rongrong and the others. Ning Rongrong, you don't have much combat power. I advise you to return to the previous world and hide first. Otherwise, when the battle starts later, the aftershock will directly kill you. I don't want a certain guy to wake up and be sad because of you. Who are you looking down on? Ning Rongrong said coldly. I'm the divine world's water god. When Bing, and I are together, even godly kings can't do anything to us. Qianren Xue, don't think that you can look down on others just because you are some king. Tianxiu Monarch shook his head. He stopped talking. The next moment, she squinted her eyes, and 3 pairs of golden wings lit up on her back. Interestingly, 3 of the wings were black and gold. They were 60% to 70% similar to Wang Feng's angel of light and dark. At the same time, ancestral realm in the mysterious pond. Sai, Master, we are almost too weak. We can't even help Mistress and the others. Ching Ching squatted at a corner of the pond and stared blankly. However, at this moment, a light figure flashed across the sky and entered the body on the green lotus. A leisurely voice suddenly sounded. Who said that my Ching Ching is weak? Chapter 1689. A calm voice sounded. Ching Ching was stunned. She looked at the body on the lotus platform as if she was in a dream. It moved. It really moved. She saw her master's body standing up and twisting a few times as if he was getting used to it. Then, his gaze landed on her body. Yes, it's her master's gaze. A familiar gaze. Why, don't you recognize me? Wang Feng twisted left and right and felt a little uncomfortable. He didn't know if it was because he had been touched. He had cultivated 3 souls with 1 spirit into 3 pure ones, and one of them had already gone to the divine world. The main soul didn't move and was in charge of the situation in the dark demon world. The last soul returned to the main body and returned to the Douluo world. Because it was done at the same time, the soul that went to the divine world should have met Shiyu at the same time. The main body is still the most comfortable. The main body had the chaotic green lotus martial soul, and it was different from the Pangu Axe martial soul. The chaotic green lotus martial soul had already been cultivated in the Douluo world. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to rely on the chaotic green lotus to fight with the divine king back then. However, he was too weak back then. Although the chaotic green lotus true soul had been cultivated, he was still too weak to unleash the potential of the chaotic green lotus. It was different now. As long as his soul cultivated into the initial wheel soul, he could even use the chaotic green lotus martial soul to temporarily materialize. In that case, the primal chaos green lotus would be of great help to him now. Thinking of this, Wang Feng walked down the platform and walked towards Qingqing. Why haven't you changed much? But you have become much prettier. Wang Feng patted Qingqing's head. Wah! Qingqing suddenly reacted and pounced on Wang Feng. She touched him here and there. After a long time, she looked at Wang Feng with tears in her eyes. Master, it's really you. You really didn't die. Matriarch Dong didn't lie to us. Wang Feng glared at her. How can your master die so easily? This is the ancestral realm, right? You are worried for nothing. Where are they? Are you talking about Odontus Sucus, Shun Bing, and the rest? They are cultivating in this world. Qingqing wiped her tears, and a faint smile appeared on her face. Matriarch Dong brought us here. Oh right, Mistress and the others have gone out. It seems like Mo Tiance is coming soon. They didn't fight. Wang Feng asked after some thought. Oh, when we first came in, the two matriarchs and an angel called Heavenly Cultivation King were about to fight. However, they were stopped by Matriarch Dong. Qing said. King Tianxiu? Wang Feng was taken aback. F***CK, isn't that Qianren Xue? She's back. Wang Fengxin's heart skipped a beat. She was now the Angel Nebula's Heaven Cultivation King. Now that she was back, he pondered for a moment. This was something Wang Feng hadn't expected. He actually came back. But now it was a good thing. Wang Feng closed his eyes and said faintly, Yin Mingyao, come out. As soon as he finished speaking, the ancestral realm trembled. The next moment, a graceful figure appeared in front of Wang Feng. Master, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Yin Mingyao knelt in front of Wang Feng and respectfully said, I knew that even if Master blew up his body, he wouldn't die so easily. Wang Feng did not open his eyes. After his experience in the soul world, he already knew the cause and effect of the matter. Although Yin Mingyao was created by Yin lore back then, it was actually not that simple. She was originally from the ancestral realm, which was the heavenly Dao remnant of the Eldritch world. She was placed in the unopened chaos world by Yin Lord. In fact, she was not created in advance at all. She was just combined with Yin Lord's eternal god slaying. She was truly born the moment Wang Feng split open the chaos world. The reason why Yin Qingjue did this was actually very simple. She wanted to participate in the reconstruction of the Eldritch world. That was why she spent so much effort to collect countless materials to build the eternal god slaying. She wanted to create Yin Mingyao to ensure that the opening of the chaos world could be assisted by a heavenly Dao like her. This was Yin Qingjue's plan. Of course, it was a good plan. It was specially set up for Wang Feng. The premise was that Wang Feng could reach that stage. And in fact, Wang Feng did not disappoint and reach this stage. In that chaos world, he even comprehended the crucial primordial origin. Master, what are you going to do now? Yin Mingyao asked cautiously. She couldn't understand her master anymore. Since the self-destruction of the dark demon world, she felt that her master was difficult to understand. However, from the moment the eternal sacred palace split open the chaos world, Yin Mingyao knew that he would be the only god who could make this world prosper. Even if her master had died from self-destruction, Yin Mingyao knew that her master would not die just like that. He would definitely come back. I need to control the river of time and space of the ancestral realm. I need to cultivate the yin-yang intersection origin with you and cultivate my soul into the initial wheel soul. Wang Feng pointed at Yin Mingyao's forehead. It was too complicated to explain. However, soul transmission could save all the complicated processes in an instant. It could let the other party know his purpose and experience in an instant. This is not good, Yin Mingyao stammered. I am only the heavenly Dao of the ancestral realm. I am cultivating this with my master, Wang Feng looked at Yin Mingyao with a faint smile. The Yin Mingyao who seduced me when she first awakened in the eternal sacred palace is actually saying such shy words. Are you kidding me? At that time, Yin Mingyao was extremely charming and seductive. What she loved the most was to seduce her master. It was different then. Yin Mingyao coughed a few times. It was to understand my master better. At the same time, it was to adapt to my identity. Because at that time, I already had part of my master's personality in my memory. Lord Yin injected it into me and said that you were a very lecherous man. He has very little resistance to women who are beautiful, have a good figure, and are very big. That's why I did that. Wang Feng was speechless. Yin Qingjue, this girl, why did she randomly add information to her? I knew that Yin Mingyao was abnormal at that time. Enough. Wang Feng immediately stopped Yin Mingyao from continuing to speak. He then glared at Qingqing, who was trying to hold back her laughter. Nonsense. Wang Feng waved his sleeves. How can I be that kind of person? Let's start. Don't waste time. Little Snow should be able to resist that emotiance for a while. Then Yin Mingyao glanced at Wang Feng shyly. Master, do I have to do that to cultivate the yin-yang intersection origin? No need. Wang Feng glared at her fiercely. Delete all the information about me that Yin Qingjue injected into your mind. Yin Mingyao replied. But those are bound to my memory. If I want to delete them, my memory will be deleted too. Forget it. Wang Feng waved his hand. Yin Mingyao giggled. Qing Qing opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something, but she stopped herself. What's wrong, Qing Qing? Wang Feng asked. Nothing. Qing Qing shook her head. Wang Feng frowned slightly. What's the matter? Tell me. Qing Qing thought for a while and hesitated, but she still said softly, Snow Empress is awake. Chapter 1690. Wang Feng was silent. Yes, she should have woken up. He had been in the godly mountain for so many years. Back then, she had sealed herself in slumber because he had helped her reconstruct her body. Her essence blood was too strong, and she needed to absorb the ice core origin of the Ice Empress. She should have woken up after 10,000 years. She hadn't woken up when his avatar walked out of the godly mountain and headed to the extreme north. However, she should have woken up after he left the Douluo world and went to the godly realm. She was a little dazed. She was a woman whose mind was as pure as glass, without a speck of dust. Otherwise, he wouldn't have bragged so much. Where is she now? Wang Feng asked softly. Make a guess. Qing Qing replied softly. Bang! Wang Feng smacked Qing Qing's head. Qing Qing covered her head and said, The Snow Empress is still alive. Since you're no longer around, there's no need for her to live either. She sealed herself in ice. She said that she'll live when you're alive. Wang Feng had a complicated expression after hearing that. The Snow Empress was different from his woman. She wasn't a human, but a soul beast. Emotions were completely different from humans. She was actually a spirit formed by the vital energy of heaven and earth. Before he met her in the extreme north, she was the overlord of the extreme north. However, there were almost no soul beasts who could come into contact with her. He wouldn't even be able to get past the Ice Empress, not to mention humans. She was an anomaly among soul beasts. Although he only had a relationship with her for a few months, it was still deeply engraved in his soul. She's still in the extreme north. When she woke up, Matriarch Dong wanted to bring her into the ancestral realm. However, she didn't leave. Qing Qing thought for a moment. The Ice Emperor couldn't bear to leave the Snow Empress, so he sealed himself in ice with the Snow Empress. Matriarch Dong had no choice but to bring us to the ancestral realm. After that, she set up a restriction in the extreme north to prevent them from being disturbed. However, Matriarch Dong's restriction might not be able to stop emotiance. Furthermore, the Snow Empress, Qing Qing paused. It's your essence blood. Wang Feng sucked in a deep breath. The Snow Empress did indeed have his own essence blood flowing through her body. If emotiance came to the Douluo world, he would probably be the first to sense how special the Snow Empress was. Things were always unexpected. Master, let's start cultivating immediately. Yin Mingyao's smile disappeared. She knew that her master was not in a good mood. Wang Feng nodded slightly. The ancestral realm was a newborn world, and the river of time was not long. But the ancestral realm itself was very powerful. No matter how short the essence in the river of time was, it was enough to cultivate the soul of the initial wheel. However, in comparison, it was much weaker. However, Wang Feng looked up at the 7 essences in the sky. The origin tribulation God King's quintessence had been converted into the 7 quintessences he'd comprehended to rebuild the great wilderness. With these 7 origins, the initial wheel-time soul that he cultivated would be very powerful. He could even inject the 7 essences into the river of time in the ancestral realm. Then, according to the development of the ancestral realm, a fixed time was set for the ancestral realm. Although the cultivation time was not long, it was extremely important. Fortunately, Yin Mingyao was very obedient and did not cause any trouble. During the cultivation, she did not deliberately seduce Wang Feng's soul. Compared to Shiyu and Yin Qingjue's cultivation, it might be even more formal. The 7 essences were slowly injected into Wang Feng's body and lit up. Before the self-destruction, only 5 essences were fully awakened. But now, all 7 essences have been fully awakened. Wang Feng guessed that this might be because Bibi Dan had secretly cultivated the remaining 2 essences or injected a huge amount of divine power to awaken them. They were placed in the ancestral realm, waiting for his return. Thinking of this, Wang Feng couldn't help but sigh. Bibi Dan said that she didn't want to see him in the dark demon realm and told him not to see her before he found Little Snow. But she was still a perfect helper. After all, she was also someone who had unified the Douluo world for 100 years. She could arrange many things properly and could always help him directly or indirectly. Fate was really a wonderful thing. The 7 essences were all awakened and integrated into Wang Feng's body. The 2 enormous essences were like 7 stars, flickering and fusing in Wang Feng's body. One had to know that the Origin Calamity God King was a universe-level life form. Even at the end of his life, his strength had regressed for a long time, but he was still a universe-level life form. A universe-level life form would definitely possess the will of the universe. If one wanted to obtain the will of the universe of the Origin Calamity God King and inherit everything of the Origin Calamity God King, then there was only one last step left. That was to fuse with the Qianren Shua. She was once the angel god of the God realm, one of the 2 great gods that the Origin Calamity God King split into. Although the Qianren Shua left the God realm and reincarnated into the Angel Nebula, her essences didn't remain in the God realm. Otherwise, it would be impossible for her to do such a spectacular thing in the Angel Nebula just by reincarnation. After fusing with the Qianren Shua, the will of the universe of the Origin Calamity God King should appear. But there was no rush now. Even if he didn't rely on the will of the Origin Calamity God King, as long as he cultivated the time soul of the Origin Wheel, it would be easy to kill Mo Tian's clone that came to the Douluo world. Qing Qing looked at the 2 huge cocoons in the air and blinked her eyes. A mysterious and profound aura overflowed from her master's cocoon, causing her body to tremble. Somehow, he seemed to have comprehended something, especially the green lotus above her master's head. Every petal was as real as it emitted unparalleled brilliance and color. The green brilliance dispersed and fused into the cocoon, nurturing a life form that was about to shock the world, Douluo world. Qianren Shue let out a muffled groan before her figure transformed into a flowing light that swiftly obstructed Ning Rongrong's path. There was a loud rumble. A huge mushroom cloud seemed to cover the entire Douluo world. The sea was overturned, and the whole world seemed to be starting to crack. Fortunately, this was the sea that was far away from the continent. After the Douluo world had been expanded countless times, it was very far away from the continent, and the aftermath would take a while to reach the continent. The Qianren Shue held the angelic holy sword in his hand tightly. In the distance, Angel Yu's body floated on the surface of the sea, twitching occasionally as if she was about to die. She looked at the angelic holy sword in her hand, and there were already cracks. This was a divine weapon that had accompanied her for thousands of years. It was even forged with the technology of the Angel Nebula and injected with the technological power of the 4th-generation divine body. It could be said to be incomparably powerful and was not inferior to the silver wing in the Holy Kaisha's armory. But at this moment, it was unable to withstand the suppression of the supreme willpower emitted by the demonic shadow. It was a power that transcended dimensions. Just like the illusory power that Karl had always been pursuing, it was a realm that Holy Kaisha had never reached. You are merely a high-dimensional life form from the low-dimensional universe, although you are considered the pinnacle existence in your universe. Unfortunately, the limitations of the low-dimensional universe will never allow you to touch the threshold of a universe-level life form. There aren't any life forms that have survived the first cycle in your universe, right? Are you sure you still want to struggle? Emotiant's calm voice came from above. It wasn't a language, but more like a voice of consciousness. It didn't belong to any language, but it could allow all life forms to understand what he wanted to say in an instant. The Qian Rinxue gritted his teeth. What kind of enemy did Wang Feng provoke? I can't hold on any longer. Chapter 1691. Qian Rinxue stared at the demonic shadow. She gradually felt that she couldn't hold on after just 100 moves. They were no longer in the pure Douluo world. It was a space battlefield opened up in another dimensional space of the Douluo world. Otherwise, the current Douluo world wouldn't have been able to withstand the battle just now. One had to know that the current her was not inferior to the holy Keisha of the past. In fact, she was even a little stronger. But the demonic shadow in front of her had completely transcended the origin, and even time and space couldn't restrain it. This meant that the opponent had almost transcended time. Among the known life forms in the universe, no life form could reach this level. A thin film rippled around, isolating the outside Douluo world. Universe-level life form, Qian Rinxue murmured. She knew that with her current strength, she was 1 or 2 levels stronger than the God King of the divine world. Even if the God King Tang San was in front of her, even in the main battlefield of the divine world, it was impossible for him to defeat her. Originally, she thought that Wang Feng's enemy was at most about the same strength as her. But she never expected this demonic shadow to be so strong, especially the illusory galaxy above the opponent's head. It emitted a supreme aura that surpassed the power of the origin and the rules. That was definitely a power that transcended the universe. It might even be the ultimate fear that Carl pursued but didn't achieve. And she had already touched the limits of the Dark Order, so she had some feelings for this power. Get out of the way. Ning Rongrong's gritted teeth and groan came from behind. I'm not that weak. I won't die. Just take care of yourself. Accompanied by a strong light, it was injected into Qian Rinxue's body. Qian Rinxue's injuries recovered at a speed visible to the naked eye. But soon, under the special will of the galaxy, the wounds on her body began to appear continuously. To be precise, there was no healing at all. The power of God couldn't heal the damage caused by the will of the universe. Ning Rongrong had the healing power of the divine world, second only to the God King of life. Especially in these years of cultivation, she had never slacked off. Furthermore, he was on good terms with the God King of life. The God King of life was also a woman, and an extremely kind one at that. She took great care of Ning Rongrong, the water god, and even shared the laws of life with her. Although Ning Rongrong's combat prowess was weak, her powerful healing abilities made her extremely useful in the god realm. However, even if that was the case, the difference between them was still too great. Why? Why is it like this? Why is my healing not working on you? Ning Rongrong looked at Qian Rinxue blankly, and then looked at Zhu Zhuqing and Xue Bing, who were also seriously injured. Our attacks are ineffective against him. Naturally, your healing won't have any effect on us. Xue Bing snorted and said. Her entire body was covered in a layer of ice crystal armor. From afar, she looked like a goddess of war who had walked out from a world of ice and snow. Because the damage he caused to us is beyond our divine power origin. Zhu Zhuqing walked to Ning Rongrong's side and whispered, but he didn't choose to kill us immediately. He must have other plans. From the looks of it, he wants to capture us. He wants to make us defenseless. Maybe he wants to scheme against Wang Feng. Ning Rongrong pursed her lips, not knowing what to do for a moment. My throne has an emergency wormhole that can travel through this place and leave this place. Qian Rinxue ignored them and seemed to be talking to himself. I can send you out of this world to another universe. This guy is in his real body. He's a consciousness clone that used the special power of the galaxy to descend here. If he wants to go to another universe, he won't be able to find it without specific coordinates and location. That ancestral realm has already been exposed. Even if we hide inside, it's useless. What do you mean? Ning Rongrong was stunned. You want to send us away? You want to stay behind? Hearing this, Ning Rongrong was furious. Don't give me that. Leave you here to fight to the death with this emotiance? If Wang Feng comes back to life, do you want him to be sad for you? Do you want us to be deserters? Do you think I, Ning Rongrong, am so spineless? Do you think I'm afraid of death? Qian Rinxue frowned. That wasn't what she meant. However, Qian Rinxue didn't expect that Ning Rongrong's words were also filled with the will to die. At this point, there's no point in arguing about this. At this moment, Bibi Dan walked over and said calmly, "Perhaps we have a way to harm him." She looked at the demonic figure and spoke quickly through voice transmission. When Wang Feng was in the dark demon realm, he once self-destructed and forced the other party to retreat. Wang Feng's body is very strong. Every drop of his essence blood contains great power. It also contains a very special power. According to Bibi Dong, Wang Feng's body was formed by the fusion of two flowing tears of life. At the same time, it also contained the tempering of the chaotic green lotus martial spirit, especially the second form of the red lotus karmic fire and the chaotic green lotus martial spirit true body. Every 10 levels, it would nurture a ray of chaotic divine light. Back then, when Bibi Don reforged his body, he used that chaotic divine light. This chaotic divine light was the symbol of the recovery of the chaotic green lotus martial soul and the power of the chaotic green lotus origin. Wang Feng's original body was able to fight against the godly king when he was over level 90. However, without the baptism of the chaotic divine light, his body wouldn't have been able to withstand the fusion of the meteor tear. Wang Feng cultivated the one Qi into 3 pure ones and formed a clone that was also baptized by the chaotic divine light. Why was Bibidan's body so strong in the dark demon realm? Even Yin Qingjue once wanted to exchange bodies with Bibi Dan. That wasn't a lie. It was just that Bibi Dan actually refused. It was because Bibidan's body had been baptized by the chaotic divine light and contained terrifying potential. What do you want to do? Qian Rinxue's breath tightened. He's back. Bibi Dan closed her eyes. I can sense that he's in the ancestral realm. However, I know that he can't appear yet. He still needs time. Hearing this, the girls were all stunned. Bibi Dan said slowly, I still have the body of the heavenly demon lord. He helped me refine this body back then. It's time for me to return it to him. Bibi Dan had 2 bodies. After going to the dark demon realm, the Yama King gave her the eternal god-slaying body and gave her the identity of the heavenly demon lord. The other body was naturally her original divine body, which was also reforged by Wang Feng in the beginning. Impossible. Even with your current strength, it's not enough. Qian Rinxue said subconsciously, I can't let you do this. It's not enough. However, there's another person in the Douluo world. She also has Wang Feng's blood essence. She once had half of Wang Feng's blood essence. Her strength is more than enough. Bibi Dan said. Chapter 1692. Qian Rinxue frowned slightly. Wang Feng seemed to have told her about it before. It was a soul beast from the extreme north. Wang Feng had used up half of his essence blood to save that soul beast. Wang Feng's body was already at its peak back then. If she remembered correctly, she should be called the Snow Empress. Yes, Wang Feng didn't hide anything from him. Before he was sealed, he told them about it. Speaking of which, they didn't seem to have met in the ancestral realm. Not only did she possess half of Wang Feng's essence blood, but she also cultivated for countless years. The time she was sealed was about the same as Wang Feng's. Bibi Dan said plainly, her strength is definitely much weaker than yours. However, the potential of her body is stronger than yours. However, she's cold and aloof. Where is she now? Qian Rinxue asked. The extreme north has sealed itself in ice. She should be here by now. Bibi Dan looked into the distance. As soon as his voice fell, Qian Rinxue felt the surrounding temperature suddenly drop. Countless cracks appeared on the dimensional battlefield in the Douluo world. Oh! In mid-air, Tiance looked at a figure in the distance. A smile surfaced on his face. She's finally here. In this world, Other than the heavenly devil ancestor, there's only one life form with the same bloodline as you. You must have paid a huge price for her. Hence, she must be closely related to you. When he came to this world, he had already sensed it. However, what was interesting was that she had sealed herself. If he forcefully broke it open, she would perish. As a life form in the universe, he could break her seal with a flick of his finger. However, she would die if he did so. In that case, it would be meaningless. Therefore, he decided to capture those who were close to Wang Feng first. He didn't expect this life form, who was probably the most closely related to Wang Feng, to appear herself. In the distance, snow-white hair fluttered in the air. That snow-white face was still the same as before. Even the light in the world paled in comparison to this snow-white face. Beside her, there was a green-haired lady. She was staring coldly at Mo Tiance in the sky. Sigh, that Wang Feng. I knew that he would never be able to settle down. The green-haired woman didn't look very old, about 16 or 18 years old. She was very young, and her tone was filled with despair. Provoking such a powerful enemy is simply a disaster for this world. It wasn't easy for this world to have a new atmosphere. If this continues, it will be over. If it wasn't for him, this world wouldn't be this world anymore. Ice Emperor, you are not allowed to talk about him like that, the snow-clothed woman said softly. I won't say. How would I dare to scold him? Wasn't it because he wasn't around? If he were here, how would I, a mere ice scorpion, dare to criticize the soul beast's great benefactor? The green-haired woman waved her hand. Big sister, what do you plan to do now? The woman in the snow-white dress looked at the BB Dawn with a soft and bright gaze. When she came to the northernmost land with Emperor Qing and the others, she talked to me alone. The snow-robed woman said in a low voice. One day, she will borrow my strength, the strength of my body. Who is she? She said she wants to borrow your strength, and you lent it to her? The green-clothed woman looked at the BB Dawn and snorted. She is a woman who would sacrifice herself for love without hesitation. Disgusting. The green-clothed woman's body trembled, and she turned her head away. On the other side, you already planned this long ago? Qian Renshue's breathing gradually hastened as she looked at the BB Dawn. Zhu Zhuqing and Ning Rongrong were also looking. No, your appearance was not within my expectations. BB Dawn smiled. But very good. Little Shui, at least you came and delayed enough time. Otherwise, the plan might not be able to be executed. Mo Tian's strength is still beyond my imagination. How did you know that Wang Feng would return to the ancestral realm at this time? I guessed. BB Dawn closed his eyes. He will definitely rush back before Mo Tiance arrives. Then the two of you are really telepathic. Qian Renshue's tone was weird. After she finished speaking, her figure flashed, and she rushed towards Mo Tiance. Since you have already planned it out, let's begin. I can only delay this much time for you. Bibidan's gaze also landed on the Snow Empress. Before she returned to the Douluo world, she had only heard of the Snow Empress from Wang Feng. After returning to the Douluo world and heading to the extreme north, she finally got to know her. But now, their gazes intertwined in the void. Both of them had far exceeded the limits of the Douluo world. With a thought, boundless radiance rose from both of them, forming two light pillars that intertwined in midair. Mo Tiance waved his hand and blasted the Qian Renshue far away. In just an instant, the Qian Renshue appeared in front of him again. The angelic holy sword in her hand was burning with a special flame that fused darkness and light. She slashed it towards Mo Tiance. Self-destruct? After falling for Wang Feng's trick once, you still want to fall for it a second time? Mo Tiance laughed sinisterly. Do you really think that I, a universal life form, can be promoted so easily? Star River willpower, heavenly origin, tremble. In that instant, the void stilled. The moment the two light pillars intertwined, they were suppressed by the Star River willpower above Mo Tiance's head. Even the shattered space seemed to have become a painting in the Star River and was frozen. BB Dawn and the Snow Empress, who were in the middle of the light pillars, sighed. BB Dawn sighed but she still underestimated the universal life form. She actually didn't know. When Wang Feng self-destructed to force Mo Tian's back, other than because of his huge body, it was also because of the detonation of his life origin. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to force Mo Tian's back. However, BB Don had already left the battlefield under Wang Feng's instructions. For a life form like Mo Tian's, it was impossible to scheme against him unless it was someone of the same level. Life forms below him couldn't possibly scheme against him. Even if they had such a thought, he could easily detect it. If Wang Feng hadn't detonated his life origin, the self-destruction wouldn't have succeeded. A universal life form that transcended the long river of time and space, and was at the pinnacle of the origin wheel universe, was far greater than they could imagine. However, at this moment, above the 9 heavens, a dazzling divine light suddenly flew over. It was an ancient bell. The bell rang everywhere, and a crack seemed to have appeared in the still space and the supreme willpower. That is, numerous gazes looked over in a daze. No one knew where the bell came from. Just like that, it descended from the sky with unparalleled might and shrouded Mo Tian's sky. It emitted a supreme divine light that suppressed the heavens and the universe. Mo Tian's expression changed immediately. He couldn't move. Your avatar in the God world is dead, and this Tao isn't far away. Look, this avatar of yours can no longer break free from the suppression of my bell of chaos. At the same time, a voice that seemed to come from ancient times sounded from a light wall in the void. Chapter 1693. The majestic light of the chaos bell suppressed the entire universe and emitted boundless divine might. Mo Tian's, who was enveloped by it, couldn't move at all. This voice caused everyone present to tremble violently. It was impossible for the experts of the Douluo world to participate in a battle of this level. BB Don was very cautious. She had chosen the Sea God's Island, which was far away from the continent. Even if Mo Tian's descended here, the shockwaves from the battle wouldn't harm the continent for a while. There weren't any soul beasts around. There were only a few human experts guarding the Sea God's Island, and they were isolated from the battlefield. Therefore, there were only a few people present. The owner of the voice was naturally Wang Feng. The process of him and Yin Mengyao cultivating the yin-yang fusion origin was very smooth. Most importantly, there were 7 origins as support. The initial wheel-time soul that his soul cultivated wasn't inferior to the other 2. At the same time, the initial wheel-time soul of the God world was cultivated, and the Pangu axe was split into chaos to suppress Mo Tian's who came to the Douluo world. That was why the current scene was happening. Of course, BB Don and the others didn't know the origin of this bell. Therefore, they were very confused when the chaos bell appeared. However, Wang Feng's appearance made them understand immediately. Mo Tian's looked at Wang Feng with a gloomy expression. The moment the chaos bell appeared, he understood. His clone in the God world was gone. In fact, he even knew how it had disappeared. The 2 clones acted at the same time. Previously, he knew that Wang Feng cultivated the initial wheel, so he sent his clones to both worlds to prevent any accidents from happening. He also prevented those close to Wang Feng from escaping. However, he didn't expect Wang Feng to return from the Dark Devil World's soul domain so quickly. Furthermore, he became so strong. Mo Tian's, actually, I was curious. Wang Feng said slowly, as a chess piece, it's normal to want to break free from the chess game and become a chess player. You schemed in the Dark Devil World and waited for the day to kill Yin Qingjue. You wanted to obtain the remnant will of the universe in the remaining 5 shackles. But no matter what, she was the one who created you. It's fine if you're ungrateful. However, your actions were still so stupid. Why didn't you wait a little longer when you knew that the 9 shackles contained a power that could allow you to reach a higher level? Wang Feng narrowed his eyes. Maintaining the cooperative relationship with Yin Qingjue and making a move when she's about to absorb all the 9 incomplete wills of the universe? Otherwise, how could there be so many follow-up events? With your intelligence, you shouldn't have thought of this back then. However, he hurriedly absorbed 3 strands of devil chi and left one behind as an ambush. Were you planning? What other purpose do you have? Mo Tiance didn't say anything as he looked at Wang Feng indifferently. After returning from the Soul Society, Wang Feng had been thinking about this question. If one wanted an explanation, there were actually many. For example, Mo Tiance back then wasn't a universe-level life form, so he couldn't think that far ahead. Anything was possible. However, Wang Feng had a premonition that there might be something else involved. If I hand over the remaining 2 strands of devil chi, will you let go of this clone of mine? Mo Tiance suddenly asked. Interesting. Well, avatars were not simple. Once his avatar was destroyed, it meant that his universe would slowly become incomplete. It would require a large amount of time to recover, and at the same time, his strength would decrease. Mo Tiance obviously didn't want to face such an outcome, which was why he said such words. With the example of the clone in the divine world, Mo Tiance didn't seem to think of running away immediately. To be precise, he couldn't run away. If it was Mo Tiance's true body, the bell of chaos might not be able to suppress it. Unfortunately, it wasn't his true body, but only his avatar. Oh, Wang Feng smiled. Let you go? Are you looking for trouble? If you destroy this avatar of mine, you can forget about ever obtaining those 2 strands of demonic chi. Mo Tiance said slowly. Yin Xingjue needs these 2 strands of devil chi to condense the complete heaven's embryo will. This is a crucial step for her to evolve from a heaven Dao to a universe-level life form. Otherwise, she can only be a heaven Dao in the dark demon world. Unless the dark demon world evolves into a low-elemental universe. Unfortunately, that's impossible. It's just a deal. Moreover, you have already destroyed one of my clones. Even if my true body comes and the Xing River isn't complete, I won't pose any threat to you. Mo Tiance's words were filled with temptation. You must be indebted to Yin Xingjue for dealing with me, right? You want to get the last 2 strands of devil chi from me. Letting go of my clone will be killing many birds with one stone. It will be more beneficial to you. Wang Feng laughed. At this moment, the exchange between the two seemed to have stopped time and space. But what if I still don't want to? Wang Feng asked. Mo Tiance's eyes were like the forest. Then I will use the move you used against me. I will activate my intent and make this clone explode. Even if you can protect the women around you, you won't be able to protect this world. Not only this world, but even the divine world will be implicated. Along with many other worlds related to this world, they will all perish. He seemed to be saying, who didn't know how to self-destruct? The clone of the divine world wouldn't stand a chance. However, Mo Tiance was different now. He had learned from the mistakes of others. Hearing Mo Tiance's words, the rest of the women held their breaths. Wang Feng, don't agree to it. Bibidan's lips moved slightly as she transmitted her voice coldly. There will be endless troubles, even if the entire world has to be buried with me. Wang Feng glanced at her. Why not? Bibidan said faintly. Don't forget your current strength and realm. You should look further ahead. You have to think for yourself. You've already helped this world enough. Don't let this become your shackle. Wang Fengxin said. As expected, this was Bibidan. Bibidan's thinking was very simple. With Wang Feng as the center, nothing else mattered. When necessary, she could give up everything. She wasn't a kind god like Tang San in the divine world. Instead, she was a heavenly devil supremacy who had experienced much darkness and stayed in the dark devil world for a long time. Yin Xingjue has helped you before. If you kill him, Yin Xingjue won't be able to get what she wants. Wang Feng stared at Bibidan. Moreover, I have promised her that I will help her get what Mo Tiance took away. It was too troublesome to explain the will of the universe, so Wang Feng didn't go into detail. Bibidan looked at Wang Feng and said softly, it's up to you. No matter what you do, I will support you. However, I don't think you should let Mo Tiance go. Wang Feng suddenly found it interesting. He looked at the rest and asked, what do you guys think? The current situation was special, and it wasn't the time to be affectionate. They were all stunned by Wang Feng's question. Chapter 1694. Wang Feng, I support what Bibi Don said. The first person to reply was Ning Rongrong, which Wang Feng didn't expect. Wang Feng looked at Ning Rongrong strangely. Rongrong, you're the water god. Water is the source of life. You've even comprehended part of the God King of life's laws of life. How can you bear to see this world perish? This is the Douluo world, your hometown. Ning Rongrong hesitated for a moment and said to Wang Feng, but I feel that if we let Tiance escape, the world will be in danger. It won't be just the Douluo world that will suffer. Furthermore, I don't want you to face a situation where you have to self-destruct to survive. Wang Feng was stunned for a moment before he laughed. Good lass. I didn't expect you to think of this. Wang Feng sighed. Rongrong wasn't stupid. It was just that she seemed very easy to coax and stupid in front of him. You can do whatever you want, Zhu Zhuqing said. She thought for a moment and wanted to say something, but stopped. Eventually, she shut her mouth obediently. Wang Feng pondered for a moment and looked at the Snow Empress and the other light pillar. As they looked at each other, there was no sense of unfamiliarity. It was as if they had returned to the time in the extreme north. What about you? This world is very important to you, right? Wang Feng asked. Nonsense. This world gave birth to my sister. Do you think it's important? The Snow Empress didn't answer, but the green-clothed lady flew over and transmitted her voice. Little Scorpion, you don't have the right to speak here. Go away, Wang Feng said. The Ice Empress. The Ice Empress took in a deep breath but didn't move. Wang Feng, you. The Ice Empress looked at Wang Feng angrily. Just as she was about to speak, she was stopped by the Snow Empress. To me, there's something more important than this world. So, the Snow Empress paused. I respect your choice. You don't have to consider my feelings. The Ice Empress thought for a moment. What was more important than this world? She looked at Wang Feng and understood. Wang Feng smiled and said, You're making me feel a little ashamed. I feel like I'm not worthy of you. Oh, so you still have some self-awareness, huh? The Ice Emperor immediately shouted. Wang Feng, I was just casually being humble, and you stupid scorpion took it seriously? Wang Feng's face darkened. The airport was just an eyesore. Wang Feng looked at Tiance. You've asked? Tiance was like a calm Buddha as he closed his eyes without any emotions. Wang Feng nodded. I can let you go, but I have a question, Wang Feng suddenly said. What is it? Where did you comprehend the will of the Milky Way? Wang Feng asked. Tiance's expression didn't change as he said, The will of the universe is obtained by fate. Bullshit. Wang Feng sneered. The will of the universe is obtained by fate. However, this will of the Milky Way isn't something you can obtain. Moreover, you obtain the complete will of the Milky Way after obtaining the two great demonic auras and cultivate it to become a universe-level life form. Moreover, every will of the universe is comprised of several main and branch origins. Only by cultivating all of them can one obtain the complete will of the universe. No matter how lucky you are to obtain the complete will of the universe, it's impossible for you to cultivate to become a universe-level life form so quickly. How difficult was it to obtain the complete will of the universe? Taking Wang Feng as an example, the most complete one was Origin Calamity Deity King. However, how difficult was it to obtain Origin Calamity Deity King's will of the universe? Since Wang Feng obtained the Dark Angel Martial Soul from Yin Xingjue, he had been progressing in this direction step by step. Until now, he hadn't obtained it. Moreover, they were all subdivided into 7 major origins. At the beginning, the 7 major origins had 14 branch origins. They slowly fused together. After countless fortuitous encounters, he finally obtained the complete 7 major origins. Even so, he was still one step away. The Crimson Deity Sky Fox clan was a universe-level life form, but they only possessed an incomplete will of yin and yang. They were still one step away from being complete. There were still a few branch origins that were difficult to touch. That was a clan. The Crimson Deity Sky Fox clan that had lived in the universe for countless years. They hadn't obtained the complete will of the universe. Yet, Emotiance was able to obtain such a powerful will of the universe. Wang Feng knew that the will of the universe was different from the will of the heaven embryo. The will of the heaven embryo was only used for universe-level life forms to condense a physical body that transcended time and space. It was a basic will of the universe, the foundation of becoming a universe-level life form. However, Emotiance's will of the universe was different. This plaything was truly a top-notch will of the universe. Wang Feng sneered. For you to be able to reach this step, you must have a universe-level life form behind you. However, if you do, the situation would be completely different. Obviously, you don't, so there's only one possibility. Either you are the possessor of the will of the universe. In other words, you were once a universe-level life form, but you perished during the universe's Genesis calamity. You only inherited the will of the universe. Hence, Yin Qingjue didn't treat you as a chess piece. Instead, you treated Yin Qingjue as a chess piece. What you are after isn't the few incomplete wills of the universe in the shackles of the palace in the Soul Society. Because you don't lack the will of the heaven embryo. You must have another motive for getting it. Actually, Wang Feng had already guessed it when he found out that the shackles of the palace contained the will of the heaven embryo. Because this wasn't Emotiance's real goal. What are you trying to say? Emotiance's expression didn't change. It was as though nothing would change no matter what Wang Feng said. What is your motive? Wang Feng asked indifferently. The air fell into silence. Emotiance suddenly laughed. Since you can think of so many things, do you think I will answer your question? If you don't answer, you will die, Wang Feng said slowly. His tone was calm. My motive is very simple. Emotiance closed his eyes. My motive is Yin Qingjue. Hearing this, Wang Feng was slightly stunned. His mind was slightly blocked. He had an instinct that Emotiance wasn't lying. However, it didn't seem to make sense. If that's the case, it's better for you to die. Wang Feng thought for a while and said, after saying that, his body shook and a dreamlike green lotus appeared above his head. In an instant, the green lotus disintegrated and turned into endless divine radiance, changing into various forms. A pitch-black spear formed from the roots condensed in Wang Feng's palm. Countless lotuses of different forms bloomed with endless radiance and landed on Wang Feng's body. A waterfall-like long river of time appeared in the void and revolved around Emotiance. Wang Feng kept his mouth shut. At this moment, the god-slaying spear in his hand seemed to have condensed all the darkness and light. Heaven and earth were dark, and space was devoured by darkness. Under the shroud of the bell of chaos, Wang Feng held the god-slaying spear and penetrated Emotiance's will clone like an eternal radiance. Emotiance's expression was slightly shocked, as though he didn't expect Wang Feng to do that. I won't let my opponent use the same move against me. You won't have the chance to self-destruct. Moreover, I know you might be lying to me. Wang Feng's voice was low and serene. But since you want to die, I will naturally grant you your wish. Emotiance opened his mouth slightly, as though he wanted to say, You said you would let me go as long as I speak. Rumble. A huge amount of willpower energy exploded in the void. It was as gorgeous as fireworks, but it almost shattered this world. Chapter 1695. Wang Feng had never thought of letting Emotiance go. Even if it was just a will clone, Emotiance's threat was harmless to him, because Wang Feng wouldn't give him a chance to self-destruct. Wang Feng only wanted to know Emotiance's true motive. Both parties knew what the other party wanted. As for whether Emotiance was telling the truth, only he would know. As for the two strands of demonic chi, Emotiance's main body was still around, so the demonic chi was naturally still on him. Now that he had lost two will clones, his strength was greatly reduced. The two strands of demonic chi contained the incomplete will of the universe, especially the will of the heavenly embryo. This would have a certain recovery effect on him. It was most likely that Emotiance would absorb the incomplete willpower of the two strands of demonic chi and recover to a certain extent. Although this might cause him to suffer from some sequelae, it was still better than having his strength greatly reduced or even falling to the level of a universe life form. Therefore, Emotiance definitely wouldn't use the two strands of demonic chi recklessly. If he absorbed them, it would naturally be for the best. He could find his main body and kill it. Then, he would naturally obtain the two strands of incomplete willpower he had absorbed. The death of the two will clones meant that Emotiance's threat to him was at its lowest. Next, he only needed to combine his three souls to obtain the angel origin core on Qianrenshua, which was the symbol of the angel godhood. The angel origin core was only a name given to the angel godhood. In fact, it should be the origin cores of the two gods that the origin calamity god king had turned into before his death, because only this origin core could fuse with the seven great origins and derive the origin calamity god king's will of the universe. Retrieve. The green lotus bloomed, and its petals transformed into a black lotus. It absorbed all the energy from the death of Emotiance will clone. Emotiance will clone wasn't an ordinary body. Even if it was suppressed by Wang Feng in the primal chaos and destroyed by the god-slaying spear, 1/10 of the energy from the body's explosion could destroy the Douluo world dozens of times over. At the same time, after the energy from Emotiance's explosion was absorbed, a sparkling and resplendent crystal that seemed to reflect the universe appeared in his sight. Fragment of willpower. Wang Feng smiled. The will doppelganger had such powerful combat strength because it was split from Emotiance's own universe will. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to utilize a portion of the galaxy will's power. Therefore, Emotiance cherished the will clone very much. The reason for that was because once this thing died, the will contained within the clone would shatter and leave the main body. It caused the Star River will of Emotiance's main body to be slightly damaged. Compared to the will of the entire universe, this kind of fragmentation might be as small as a grain of sand in the ocean. However, an incomplete will was an incomplete will. No matter how small the incomplete will was, it would still affect the cultivation of the main body. To life forms below the universe level, this kind of influence was negligible. Even an incomplete universe could easily wipe out existences like demon gods and godly kings. However, to universe-level life forms of the same level, the deciding factor might be the difference of 0.0001 between the universe willpower and the universe willpower. Actually, Wang Feng also knew that if Emotiance had transcended the initial universe calamity, his universe wouldn't have such a problem. No matter how many will doppelganger there were, the universe would still be a complete entity after death and wouldn't shatter into pieces. It was a pity that it wasn't a matter of whether he had transcended or not. It was just that he hadn't reached that stage yet. Now that his will was incomplete, it was basically impossible for him to transcend. This is a good thing. Wang Feng waved his hand and took the will fragment into his hand. To him, it was a good thing, but to others, it was very dangerous. Wang Feng could use the primordial origin to analyze the galaxy will in this fragment and gain a deeper understanding of Emotiance. Furthermore, it happened to be incomplete, which made it very suitable for the primordial origin to analyze. If it was complete, it would be very difficult to analyze it in a short period of time, even if his three souls fused into one. After all, his current strength hadn't reached that stage yet. Wang Feng waved his hand gently, and the surrounding space changed like ripples. The special battlefield formed by the dimensional space disappeared. It was as though there was a thin film separating them, and the azure sky of the Douluo world could be seen again. There were also a few figures in the distance. Is it settled? Bibidon flew over and asked softly, "It shouldn't be that simple, right? This is only one of Emotiance's clones. There's one in the god world too. Since it's destroyed, it's naturally not completely settled. His main body is still around. Wang Feng said leisurely. However, with two of his will clones gone, he won't dare to appear in front of me for the time being. He's probably hiding somewhere in the universe to recover from his injuries. Clones. Bibidon furrowed his brows slightly. Although he already knew about it, he still found it hard to accept. If a clone was already so strong, who knew how strong his main body would be? Don't worry. Wang Feng could tell Bibidon's worries at a glance. You have to think of it this way. This is also a clone of mine. He was killed by me so easily. How can his main body be stronger than me? Bibidon was silent for a moment. Compared to the previous battle with Mo Tiance, the current Wang Feng was indeed much stronger. It was because his soul was stronger. Also, the ancient bell that flew over from the sky was stronger. Otherwise, it would be hard to say. As he thought of this, Bibidon felt a faint sense of pride and joy in his heart. However, when he thought of what he was going to face next, he felt sweet and bitter at the same time. This item is much stronger in my hands than when I used it in the Douluo world. Wang Feng opened his palm gently, and the chaotic green lotus quietly bloomed. Whether it was the chaotic green lotus or the Pangu axe, both of them weren't simply heaven-opening treasures. Instead, they were the primordial seeds that were left behind by the powerful beings of the universe in the previous primordial world before it was destroyed. These two treasures had gathered the wills of many powerful beings in the primordial world. Otherwise, a heaven-opening treasure alone might not be able to deal with Mo Tiance, especially now that these two seeds had grown into towering trees in Wang Feng's hands. Bibidon snorted softly and said, "What's next? What do you plan to do?" After saying that, she glanced at the other ladies. Wang Feng pondered for a moment. Wang Feng. Before he could open his mouth, Ning Rongrong was the first to pounce on him. Like a young swallow, she threw herself on a Wang Feng. Then she pinched left and right as if she was confirming whether it was the real Wang Feng. So it's real. Wang Feng coughed and thought to himself, how shameless. There's so many people here. It was as if she was declaring her sovereignty. He patted Ning Rongrong's back gently and said, "Get up first. I have something to do." "I don't want to." Ning Rongrong turned her head and said. Wang Feng slapped her buttocks. Smack! The clear and melodious voice sounded very pleasing to the ears in the quiet sky. End of this chapter. Chapter 1696. Ning Rongrong blushed immediately. She immediately stood up and said shyly, "What are you doing? There are people here." "Oh, you know there are people here?" Wang Feng glared at her and whispered, "Can we talk about it when there's no one around?" Ning Rongrong pursed her lips and acknowledged. She flew to Zhu Zhuqing, who was rushing over, and said, "Zhuqing, and I will wait for you in the God realm." Zhu Zhuqing thought to herself, "I've just arrived, and I haven't even spoken much. You want to drag me to the God realm? I'm not going to do it." Although that was what she thought, Zhu Zhuqing looked around and said, "Then let's return to the God realm first. Forget it. Rongrong, why don't we tour this world for a few more days?" Ning Rongrong's eyes brightened. Sure. Wang Feng knew that Zhu Zhuqing wanted to create some space for herself and the others. She could probably guess what he was thinking. With that, Ning Rongrong pulled Shui Bing, and Zhu Zhuqing away. Sigh. Shui Bing sighed. "I haven't even said anything." But looking at the situation, one side is Bibidon, the other side is the Snow Empress, and there's even a Qian Renshua. They're not to be trifled with. Forget it. He has a clone. I should still have a chance, right? Shui Bing glanced at Wang Feng and suddenly thought of this. She disappeared without a trace. "Sister, do you still want to stay here?" The Ice Emperor came back to her senses. She looked around first, as if to confirm that she wasn't dreaming. She only spoke after a long while. The battle between Wang Feng and Mo Tiance was still in a frozen state to them. Both of them had transcended the river of time in the Douluo divine world. Although it was only for an instant, they couldn't see the details clearly. They could only see the explosion of energy that turned into beautiful fireworks. After that, the demonic figure disappeared. Only Wang Feng remained in the sky. He had a green lotus above his head and a divine spear in his hand. He shone brightly and was very dazzling. I want to talk to him. The Snow Empress said, "You can go back first." "No, I don't want to leave, sister." The Ice Emperor snorted. "Look, the girls around this man are all prettier than the other. There's no place for you to speak. My mouth is on my body. I can say whatever I want," said the Snow Empress. "It has nothing to do with being pretty." The Ice Emperor. That makes sense, the Ice Empress thought. That's right, big sister has an intimate relationship with this stinky man. The others. Is seeing. What did you see? Wang Feng was stunned. A beautiful smile blossomed on the Snow Emperor's face. "You really did what you promised me back then. Although I didn't see you during this period, I was very happy when the ice seal ended." Wang Feng coughed a few times. He could feel that the Bibidan's gaze wasn't right. "I know you have things to do. I'll come and find you when you're done," the Snow Empress said softly. She knew that she, or rather, not only her, but the others could not help Wang Feng much at this moment. Hence, she stopped here. "All right." Wang Feng nodded. Soul beasts weren't simple. Wang Feng felt that a certain scorpion wasn't simple. She was very knowledgeable about human affairs. They were simple, but only in terms of emotions. In fact, the Bibidan and the Snow Empress had helped him stall for time. Of course, they didn't seem to be of much help because they wanted to hurt Emotiance and didn't succeed. In fact, they were very helpful. The Snow Empress stood where she was and looked at Wang Feng. There was a different kind of light in her eyes. "Sister?" The Ice Emperor looked from the side. Didn't she say that she would look for Wang Feng after he was done? Why didn't she leave? Wang Feng thought for a moment before walking over and hugging the Snow Empress. "Wait for me," he said. "Okay." The Snow Empress turned around with a satisfied smile on her face. The Ice Emperor looked very uncomfortable. It was as if he had been fed a mouthful of dog food. The Ice Emperor didn't even think as he pulled the Snow Empress away. Wang Feng watched as the figures disappeared from his sight. He thought to himself, it seems that Zhu Zhuqing and Bibidan are not the ones with the largest number of people. That didn't make sense. "They're gone." A faint voice sounded from his side. "No, I'm thinking about something else," Wang Feng said seriously. The Bibidan acknowledged and suddenly asked, "Is it big?" Wang Feng didn't even think before answering. "Very big." "Wait, Dong. That's not what I meant." Wang Feng scolded himself. These women were getting more and more familiar with his nature. "Fuck. Umph," the Bibidan sneered. "I don't know what you mean. However, if you don't pay attention, someone will leave." Wang Feng was stunned and looked to the side. He saw the Qian Rinxue in the distance, scooping up a little angel from the sea and returning to the throne. Then, he activated the special circuit on the throne expressionlessly. A wormhole was formed in midair. It seemed to lead to another universe. Wait, Wang Feng shuddered. How could he forget the most important thing? After he finished speaking, he appeared on the throne as if he had teleported. The throne was like a cross-shaped mountain peak. It was extremely tall. The throne was in the middle. The interior even looked like a small city. "What do you want?" The Tianqiu monarch looked at Wang Feng and asked plainly. "Xiao Shui, are you going back?" Wang Feng looked a little awkward. "There's no need, right? I'm the Tianqiu monarch. I'm from the Angel Nebula," she said. "Not Xiao Shui. You're calling the wrong person." Wang Feng looked at her and blinked his eyes. The Qian Rinxue now was very different from the Qian Rinxue 10,000 years ago. Their appearances were almost the same, but their auras were too different. As a result, the changes were too drastic. You have injuries caused by emotiance. Rong shouldn't be able to heal them, but I can, Wang Feng said. "There's no need to trouble you," the Tianqiu monarch said plainly. TSK. Wang Feng could tell from her tone that she was angry. Perhaps she wasn't just angry. After thinking for a while, Wang Feng walked over. The two of them got closer and closer. "Please stop," the Tianqiu monarch said in a low voice. Wang Feng didn't reply. He walked up to the throne and hugged the Qian Rinxue with an indomitable spirit. The Tianqiu monarch suddenly looked a little flustered. She took a few steps back and subconsciously pushed Wang Feng with both hands. However, it was obvious that she didn't realize that this level of resistance was completely useless. It was more like she wanted to say something, but didn't, until Wang Feng hugged her in his arms and whispered in her ears that were stained with golden hair, "Shua, you didn't say anything and left for 10,000 years. I don't know how long I've been thinking about it." The Qian Rinxue's delicate body trembled. She pushed Wang Feng's shoulders with both hands, and her voice finally lost its calm. Instead, it was filled with embarrassment and anger. "Who would believe that? How long can you think about it? I've been away for so long, and I didn't see you looking for me." Hearing this voice, Wang Feng knew that this lass really fell for it. She couldn't hold it in anymore, right? The Tianqiu monarch couldn't hold it in anymore, right? What a joke. How could Wang Feng not know what the Qian Rinxue was thinking after coming back from the Douluo world? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.